It's the Love of the Game podcast. We are back in the building. We're live. It's go time. I think if y'all don't understand by now that this thing is not going exactly at 5 o'clock, if y'all don't get that, then I don't know if y'all really a part of this thing that we have here, man. Like the podcast not coming out on time is a part of what we do. Like this is a part of just as much a part of who we are as anything else, man. It is 5:04. We're finally here. I couldn't do 8:05 like we did last time. But those who know about 8:05 know about 8:05, and we'll just leave that unspoken. You know what I'm saying? You know. Bryce in the building.
What up?
Lock in the building.
Yo.
Huff in the building.
Let's go.
Hey, I ain't been to the barbershop in like 3 months.
You know what I'm saying?
Lock got a fresh cut.
Lock got a fresh cut, and then Lock got company over there talking about I look like Kurt Franklin. Hey, I don't look like no damn Kurt Franklin. Let me get close. To your company, I don't look like no damn Kurt Franklin.
Wow. Man, you can't be saying damn and Kurt Franklin. They ain't together, man.
In the same city. You're right. But that's my bad. I've been listening to this music all week. You got me that little dirt.
Hey, Mike DP, are you with me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Bryce said, let's be clear, man. He ain't having their day of it.
Nah.
But as always, man, I don't know how many weeks in a row we got to do this. I don't know how many times in a row that we got to tell y'all that ain't no suckers in our circle, period. You only get real basketball guests. If you ain't seen your favorite coach on our show yet, it might mean that he's scheduled, but it might mean that he just ain't like it. Because we only bring people on our show that's really like it out here in these basketball streets, man. The next guy, our guest today, may be a stranger to some, but probably not a stranger to most, especially not in these basketball streets around Atlanta, Georgia. We got Ole Miss assistant Coach Ronnie Hamilton. What's good, Coach?
What's going on? What's going on? Love of the Game podcast. Hey, I tell you this. I've been waiting for the invite, right? So, check this out. We all watch Apollo, Showtime at Apollo. And for all those aspiring comedians, artists, you hadn't arrived till you got invited to Apollo, Showtime at Apollo. So now I can finally say I've arrived as a I've seen the lineup. I seen T.Y. on here. I seen Penny. So, man, I finally feel like I made it, man. So I'm so glad to be here, chop it up with you guys. Looking forward to it on this special day, Mother's Day. Special shout out to all the moms. Happy Mother's Day. But, man, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invite. Can't wait.
No doubt. No doubt. How was everybody? I guess let's get all the pleasantries out the way first before we really get to it. Everybody weekend good? Everybody holding up? We straight?
We good, man.
Good, man. Lock ain't quarantining. Lock got fresh fade, dog. You're not Lock. You're not fooling me, my boy.
Lock is proving CB right. CB Black always said it ain't made it down here to Columbus, Georgia yet. That's how Lock said right now. It ain't made it down here to the South yet.
Hey, man. Me and my barber, man, we got this special relationship. I can't mess up the routine. I can't mess up our haircut routine, man.
That's a VIP treatment. If you still getting cussed in quarantine, you got VIP treatment.
Yeah. The VIP.
Mess it up, man.
Hey, here's the question though that I gotta ask. Lock, if you would have walked in to your barber and he could tell that you got a quarantine fade, would he have nicked your hairline on purpose?
Hey, so
he'd ask, who cut you last?
Yeah. Hey, did you do this yourself?
No.
Hey, look, that's the answer.
My barber been cutting my hair since I moved up here. And one time I let someone else take my hair because he was out of town. When he came back, he said, "Who the fuck been cutting your hair?" And I was like, "How you know?" he told me, "I could just tell by the tape." He said, "They messed up your fade." And I was like, "He did mess it up."
People don't understand them barber relationships be real deal, man. Changing a barber, that's a major life decisions, man. Like,
Man,
hey, I know Ronnie can attest to this. You move from state to state, you got to find a new barber. That's worse than finding the best recruit out there. You trying to circle around, man. You know who I cut at, man?
Hey, listen, I keep a running log of cities of go-to barbers. I can't have a bad haircut. So, man, if I'm in ATL, if I'm in Houston, Dallas, I've moved a lot. I got go-to barbers. Like Huff said, man, you got to go in there and clean. So I got some go-to barbers, man, each state I've been to.
But Coach, this is the question, man. When you're a traveling guy like that, and you got to go in and out, man. Does every state respect your hairline the same, bro? Is it some cities that you was going to where it's like, man, I can't even get a cut in this city? They disrespectful out here.
Yeah, it's some I make sure I get it before I go. But it's some that there's enough love and there's enough skill and enough style that I can go ahead and get it done. But if I go anywhere in the South, I'm good. If I start going to the Northeast, Midwest, I got problems, man. So I got to make sure if I get on that plane, I'm lined up, I'm fresh, I'm good to go.
No doubt. I feel like I've been blessed, man. I feel like my edges have fully recovered. I feel like my corners is coming back after the quarantine, man. I feel good, man. Shout out to Pops, man. He held me down. God rest him, but I feel like he held me down with a solid 40, man. I ain't mad at it. Coach, I want to talk when we talk about state to state and getting into to cities and stuff like that. I want to jump into some of this stuff, Coach. I know you have to talk to a lot of kids, right? And I know the conversation. I didn't realize the kids was asking this until coaches start putting me on game.
Okay.
But Coach, have you ever been on the phone with a kid and the kid says, "Coach, are you offering me?" And you have to tell them no, that you're just trying to get to know them, Coach?
Yeah, it might be. Hey, look, that's maybe the toughest question, because you're sitting there, you got to really pause and think about it now. Because if you say the wrong thing or you say, hey, you say no, I mean, that can kind of end the recruitment. So you got to be prepared for that with every kid. So what I got some go-to lines. I don't want to share all the secrets. I say, look, Coach Davis wants to offer you in person. So if you get that line and you know, hey, we're trying to wait a little while, or hey, we don't want to offer you to get on campus and see it. So it's something, you definitely got to be prepared for it, man, because everybody right now, man, they want offers for likes. They don't want offers, to say they coming. And I used to throw it back to them like this: hey, if I offer you, are you ready to commit? So I'll offer you. So it goes back and forth, man. You got kids that want to get offered just for likes or to jumpstart their recruitment. You got coaches that want the kids to get offers to help them out. So the offer has changed so much in the past last probably 3-4 years. I mean, it used to be, man, you offered, man, it meant something. Now it does, but it has an asterisk beside it, and so every offer can mean something different for every kid at that point in time, his recruitment. So it's interesting how that thing kind of gets thrown out and used now.
So Coach, let's talk about this. A kid says to me, "Coach, there are a lot of kids out here getting offers. What does that mean?" Am I correct in saying, number one, those coaches or programs have been on that kid for a while? Number two, it may not be a real offer. And what I mean by that is a real offer is if they offered you and you say, "I want to commit right now," they'll take it. And number three, is that really a place you want to go? Because you can get offered by a lot of places, but what's the places that you really want to go? Because there's only a certain number of official visits you can go to. So when they're putting out 12 schools, these are my 12 schools, you can't go on 12 official visits.
No doubt. Here's the offer to me, a true offer is one that when a kid can call that head coach and say, "Coach, I'm coming to your school. I want to commit to your school." And the head coach is jumping up on his chair excited about it. and saying yes, and we finna celebrate that night, the whole staff. Now for the kids, like I said before, some kids want offers to just stack them up like they're Monopoly money or something, But if you have a certain amount of school, like I have kids, man, I've seen kids that have, legitimate high major kids, got, offers from the SEC, ACC, Big 12, whatever the case may be, and then say, I'm blessed to receive an offer from Emmanuel College. None against Emmanuel College, but I'm like, okay, what's really kind of what's going on? What's the point in that? So to your point, again, it's just, I think it's some of the social media influences, but I always tell, coaches, man, I'll stipulate it really. Hey, we're offering them with the mindset we want them. There are some cases I said we're offering them to get involved in the recruitment because there's a part of that, man. If you don't offer, So I try to be really honest about if we offering a kid, at the end of the day, we can only take 3 or 4 or 5 at the most in a year. So if you're offering, which we'll have some offers out there that's more than that because you got to still be able to get the right one. But I try to really be honest about when we offer, what does that offer mean for us? But I think as a coach, maybe you're having those conversations with those kids, it helps because they can get misconstrued. You can have kids that get mad that they got peers or guys in their same class where they think they're better at it, may have more offers, and it doesn't really equate to what the talent means. It doesn't mean that one guy's better than the other. It just may mean he's playing for a coach that can call 5 or 6 coaches and get his kid offered when it might not be in that same situation for the other particular kid. So it has varying degrees of what it means, and that's the thing that kind of I've seen change so much in probably the last 4 or 5 years. So some of that social media, some of that's a lot of that social media, and a lot of that's coaches and players using offers to kind of just use it as almost a recruiting process as opposed to actually trying to make a decision on what school they're going to.
Now, Coach, you say that, but then I know I hear a lot of times when I talk to coaches, the first thing they always ask me about a player, who all is recruiting them or who all is offering them. Now, does that really matter as much? Does it matter who else is offering or recruiting them? Like in your recruitment, would that matter to you?
That's what I was about to say. I think it's case by case. For me, no, because I trust my eyes, man. Now I haven't been to the eye doctor in a while. About 3 or 4 years. Look, they had 20/10 vision, which I don't know if it's better than 20/20. I don't know if I still got it, but I trust my eyes. So when I see it, I don't need to be verified. I don't need that verified stamp that you see on Instagram or Twitter for me to approve it. I can see it, and if I like it and I think it's there, then I'm gonna tell our head coach we need to offer the kid and recruit him in such a way. Now there's some that they need or want to see somebody else offer first before they'll jump in there. Now, now will it may catch my attention if somebody in our league offers a kid? It may catch my attention and say, "Hey, I got to figure out who this kid is. I need to go get some film on him." But I'm not basing my recruitment on just the fact that who hasn't or who has not offered, or if the kid has any offers. So that's just kind of my philosophy. And again, everybody's different. Those guys that do it that way, a lot of times, man, they must not trust what they see. But for me, man, I trust what I see. And I'm going to base these 2 eyes right here to make that decision.
Building off of what Locke's kind of asking you, how much does it weigh on you guys if a kid comes from an independent team, AAU team, versus a Nike team or Adidas or Under Armour team?
Yeah, it doesn't really weigh, to be honest. I mean, if a kid can play, he can play. Right. At the end of the day, now, what happens sometimes at this level, I've seen it. And you have to be really careful. You have fans that follow recruiting so much. Obviously you got, the media who put out recruiting rankings. And so, a lot of time that's slanted towards guys who may play on the true circuits. But if you don't get caught up in that and you stay locked in, it's okay. We're going to get the right kind of guys for us, no matter where they come from, then it shouldn't really matter. Like we got kids, I've recruited a lot of kids, didn't play EYBL, Adidas, or Under Armour, and just as good sometimes as other guys. So it doesn't really influence it for me. Now what happens is you may get a chance to see those guys more just because of the fact of just, exposure and tournaments and video and all those things that's available to you. So they may have more chance to get seen. But at the end of the day, man, there's guys that play on non-shoe teams, there's kicking guys playing on shoe teams till every single day, So it's going really for us, man. It's about getting the right guys. We've had to really even here at Ole Miss, and I've coached at all levels, we've had to really, really make sure that we don't lose sight on that, because you can't get caught up in that, sometimes.
Right.
Coach, let's kind of expand upon that a little bit. We'll talk about your coaching career a little bit later, but what did you see? You talked about your eyes. KJ, out of Gainesville.
Yep.
He was locked, sealed, and done to come to Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you recruit guys, they don't necessarily translate from mid-major to high major.
Right.
What did you see and say, he's good enough for us? We got to bring him with us.
Yeah. You know what, man? It was crazy because we're sitting there in July, and I watched him play at Gainesville, and, man, you could tell he was talented. He didn't shoot it great, but he had great length. He was athletic. He broke his ankle. So he kind of, he missed some games and surprised some people who would have saw him otherwise. I guess that hurts recruitment a little bit. Then he goes and plays for Nike Team Florida now. So it's Vernon Carey, it's Balza Kubrica, it's Kyle Sturdivant, Trey Dooms. He came off the bench, and Trenton Wofford's on the team, right? So through April, all right, and then you got to go back. Remember too, his mom passed from cancer, so he went through that part of it. So it was a lot of factors, kind of like he was kind of out of sight, out of mind a little bit. So when you watch this AU team, you get caught up in those other guys. And so he come off the bench through April, and I would see him play, and I'm sitting there watching like, man, this dude can get a rebound, drive it, make passes. He rebounds it. He's athletic, good feel, good size. And so I'm sitting with Coach Davis at the time. I said, Coach, man, I think he's a high major dude. Like he got a chance to be a pro. So then fast forward to July, I think Balza leaves, Trenton Wofford leaves. I know for sure those two guys leave. And so now he's starting. And we're sitting there like, man, cringing because now he's playing in Vegas and he's like, shit, he's hooping, right? And so I was just hoping that the SEC and ACC didn't like just go on him. I was surprised they didn't. But, man, we saw enough to where like we had guys like him in the past when our team is middle, like Corey Williams, Nick King, Sean Jones. He just fit us. I thought he was really good. We got lucky. Man, we hit it off with the dad, and man, he's one of those kids that was loyal to us. We were loyal to him, and it worked out. And we made the move here. It was a no-brainer, So, man, he started for us all this year. I think he still got he's gonna have a chance to be, maybe get drafted here in time.
Coach, he's very long. Y'all love the 131, and he's at the top of it a lot.
No doubt. No, he's good. He's getting better and better too, man. He's one of those deals too where like the one thing with KJ, because he played with so many good players, he didn't necessarily have that alpha in him. Like he'd rather win a game than necessarily be the guy, which in some ways probably, I think maybe was undervalued when he was coming out, but he's starting to gain that confidence level now to where like we go play Kentucky and whoever it may be, and he's like, okay, I'm as good as anybody out there, and that's the next step for him to really play to how good he, how talented he really is.
Coach, you go into and you see all of these different type of players, man, and it's a lot that goes around the basketball.
Yep.
When you go in to recruit these guys, and you go into the home, Coach, I always wonder about this. I thought I could be an assistant coach until I realized how sensitive my stomach was. What is that like, Coach? You coming in? I hope you don't have no food allergies or nothing like that. You trying to recruit these young men and get them on campus, man. What are some of these meals looking like you got to put down, Coach?
Oh, it's crazy, man. That's a crazy question. I mean, but it bears truth, man. It happens, So like, I'm allergic to seafood. That's the only thing that I can't eat. But for the right player, man, I even eat seafood, right?
Eating that crab legs.
You got that EpiPen with you?
You got the shot with you.
No doubt. So y'all seen Hitch, I'm sure, right? So the Hitch where he gets all flared up, that'd be me. But man, no, I mean it's crazy how I tell you one story. So it was I guess 2 years ago we got here first fall when we start, and we're going on the road September 9th. So we had it lined up. We had some local guys we can go see. We trying to hit 3 or 4 guys. So we started at noon, and it got the whole staff with us. So they made a spread, like around noon. So it's kind of lunchtime. We got an appetite. We eat, We leave there, man. We get to another house about 3. They've cooked a big spread. We're all full, but we make sure we eat that food. And then we go to another home at 6:30. They cooked on the grill. They got the whole family. It's like a family reunion. Man, I'm stuffed. I can't eat anything else. Right? But man, we throw down. You know what I'm saying? So, we get in those situations. And a coach, a friend of mine, told me this a while back. Matter of fact, he kind of joked with me and Coach Davis at the time, and he said, "Hey, you may have heard the story." He said, "Hey, Coach, man, if they ever ask you, do you want some Kool-Aid? Drink the Kool-Aid." Right? And so that's
the red Kool-Aid.
That's the gist of the whole story. Like there's times where you may not want to eat it, but you're gonna make sure you sit down and fellowship, because it's like you said, it's nothing more disrespectful for somebody to make a meal for you, and you not sit down and dine with them, man, and fellowship with them. So we get some good meals, we get some meals that not as good, and it's always a laughing joke sometimes after the fact. But you come across some crazy things, man, when you go on that recruiting trail in those homes.
Hey, that's a funny way to put it, Coach. Meals that are not as good. Meals that are not as good. Coach, we were talking about a lot about like recruiting and all of these different players and offers and stuff like that. Like I'll tell you that's a new thing for me. I didn't realize that there was offers that weren't real offers that you couldn't pick up and take. I think Ty Young came on the podcast like 2 years ago and put me on game with that.
Yeah.
But Coach, I think the mentality of where this comes from, like you mentioned, that sometimes kids want these offers just for likes.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about how you've seen social media and stuff change. And I want to kind of frame it this way. Did anybody watch the Tekashi 6ix9ine video that his IG live that came out?
I haven't watched it. I need to get a link for it.
Nah, it ain't.
I ain't.
Okay.
I just want to frame the reference, right? So
he got too many views though.
That's my
million,
point.
yeah.
That's my point.
Straight out of jail.
Fresh out.
In his mind, right? Regardless of how that situation played out, right? In his mind, those 2 million views validate him as being what he calls, I'm the king of New York. I'm the best rapper out. I got my YouTube video that I put out got 35 million views. You can't do these numbers, so that makes me the best. I feel like that's happening in basketball right now.
No doubt.
True.
There's some of that.
Like my mixtape is out. I got put on Slam. I got put on Overtime. Overtime will promote a trash hooper. Hey, bro. Give me a trash hooper that over dribbles. You're gonna make Overtime history.
Yeah.
But they feel like that validates them. How much do you guys see that impacting? Like you said, is it just with the offers, or do you see it with other stuff? Are you running into players that you're going to see based off of some film, and it ain't like that when you get in the gym?
Yeah, I mean, it somewhat creates more work for you in the sense that, like I said earlier, so it may be a scenario where somebody in our league or somebody we may recruit against or just another school we respect offers a kid. So immediately in my mind, I got to make sure I ain't missed a boat. I got to go check, and see how good the kid is. And it may turn out that he's good enough and I hadn't seen him. And so now I can get film and I can call guys I trust and find out how good he is. But a lot of times, like it could be me wasting my time, And so it used to be, if I want to find out about a kid in Georgia, I'm going to call Huff. I'm going to call you guys. I'm going to call some guys I trust. Say, okay, give me the 5 or 6, 7 guys you think are the best guys for me in my program where I'm at that particular time. Yeah, I'm going to do my due diligence, do my homework. I'm going to come in there. I'm going to see them live. I'm going to get film. But now you have guys run across your whole media timeline. You have guys that come across, the internet, and just, you got to follow up as part of your job. But, a lot of times those guys don't necessarily fit that level or fit what you're looking for. So it can create where it complicates everything. And the highlight part is like you said, it's so crazy because it's like a movie, right? If you see the previews, you can be interested in the previews, and that's what the highlight types are. But until you watch the movie, you don't know if the movie's really good or not. And so everybody can put on some highlights and look good and all that, but man, you got to get to the meat and potatoes of it. So it really has changed everything. Like again, like I'll get all these, I'll see guys post stuff or offers, and just it's amazing. Like when you really get to it, like it's hard to really you got to filter all that stuff. You got to filter it. So it makes it a little bit more challenging. In some ways good, some ways bad. Like, you may come across a kid you wouldn't have otherwise, but it really has. Social media has totally changed it. And everybody now, like you said, get on a mixtape, get likes. They may think they're better than what they are. They may get misinformed in terms of where they truly are as far as a player. So it works both ways. It's getting pulled on both ends. I don't know if there's an answer for it to us to help the situation or just, make it better. But it's something that's changed a lot, man. I can't stress enough. Like, it's changed so much in the last 3 or 4 years. It's amazing. I mean, it really, really is. It really is. And kids, man, I'm blessed to have my 20-second offer. Like, what are we doing?
You just got to choose one school.
Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing? Then I'm gonna narrow it down to 12 schools. Then I'm gonna narrow it down to 5. Then I'm gonna narrow it down to 3. And I'm gonna make a decision on one. So it's definitely different. It's different. It's definitely different.
Coach, what's the earliest that you ever left a game when you pulled up with the intent of recruiting? Have you ever left before the first quarter ended?
Now, I hadn't left a game because usually in a game I may not like him, but I may like somebody else. So I'll stay for a game, but I have left practices early. I have done that. You know what I mean? Like, so I go to a practice, and somebody's told me, hey, the kid's really good. I go in there and watch practice, and in the first, 30, 45 minutes, whether it be talent level, whether it be motor, whether it be whatever the case may be, I can say, hey, he and I type of guy, and I can obviously see the rest of the team. And I try not to do that very often because, again, I want to show respect to the coach, but there's some times, man, just because of time and just resources, I got to move on and try to get something else done. But usually I'll stay for a game. But practices, I've been in those scenarios where I'm like, man, I got to get out of here. I'm in the wrong gym.
Coach, have there been times you've been looking at a kid and like, he's good. Like, he's real good. He ain't what Coach Davis gonna want though. Have you been in those situations? Yeah,
I have. And so, I tell guys too all the time, like, part of recruiting is knowing your head coach. Part of being a good recruiter is knowing your head coach. So there's some guys that can't necessarily play for my boss, my guy, Coach Davis. Not necessarily maybe talent, but just whether it be just how we play, whether it may be just how we run things. But we run a lot of different sets. I mean, so you got to have feel and all those different things. So guys who don't have motors, for sure. I mean, it's hard. So for me to sign a kid and him get here and have to leave is the worst thing. Because I failed and I failed him too, so I failed in both regards, what I'm saying? So I try to eliminate those situations as much as possible. And we all miss, at times. But there's definitely, man, been in times I've been in gyms and I get, it may not be the first time, it may be the second time or third time when I watch, but whenever that time is, man, you got to be smart enough to pull out. You know what I'm saying? You got to be smart enough to say, man, I got to get out of this one because this one ain't going to work out long term, man. So let me cut bait. Let me move on and let me go try to find a guy that can help us win.
So man, I hope our people are listening to that. I didn't want to cut you off, Locke, but I hope players who are listening right now heard what he just said. Stop comparing the offer that Buddy over here got to the offer you don't have.
Yeah, because we know some kids can find them offers right now, don't we, Huff?
We do.
We know some kids that fell off like a bad bag of dope.
Ooh.
Go ahead, Locke, because Mondre's trying to start stuff on Mother's Day.
I ain't said nothing. What'd I say?
Hey, wet dope don't sell.
Let's go.
No. But Coach, how do you feel about when, like, maybe scouts and you coaches, trainers oversell a player to you?
Man, that's the worst. I mean, just from the standpoint of, man, it's our livelihoods, right? So, like, man, if we don't win enough games at the end of the day, they're gonna let us go. I mean, it's just the nature of college basketball, nature of sports, really. And so, man, I'll listen and I'll take a call and I'll take an email and I'll take a text. If somebody tell me about a guy, but it's kind of like with me in this sense. If you tell me one time and you promote a kid and I go see the kid and it's far off now, if it's close, I say, okay, I get it. I mean, maybe I just didn't like he couldn't shoot quite well enough, or man, if it's a big gap, I'm like, man, fool me once. I'm not listening to you again, and that, and I mean, I may miss the next one, but just again, because time is money. So again, we're on the road. We only can be in so many gyms, see so many people, be in so many places. So what I try to do is I have like a not necessarily a Bible, but I have like a list of guys. If they pick up the phone and call me and they say, "Hey, Coach Ham, this guy's good enough," man, it's stamped. I'm going, I'm checking, I'm seeing, I'm doing whatever I need to do because they've either done it before in the past or I trust them enough to know when they call, they got one that they think can really play. So sure enough, we get some guys that tell us, and as soon as they do, like I know, man, I can't take that next call. Well, I ain't following up on it like I would have before.
Lock, it's hard. I mean, I feel like you kind of got to be a fool. Maybe I'm saying this harshly, but you got to be a fool to kind of sell a kid that doesn't belong in the SEC. You know what I mean? Like,
but people do.
I was about to say that line. I was like, right? I mean, people do.
But it's like, if a kid or you don't. Like, it's not like a mid-major, I don't think, or a low major. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the SEC.
Hey, so that's my question though, Bryce. Is it worse to know better and oversell, or is it worse to sell and not know?
I think both are bad.
There's some dudes walking around who really don't know, who really ain't.
Oh yeah, they don't.
Like that. They don't know. They basing what they feel off of other kids who got offers at that level.
But they haven't spent enough time watching that other kid to see the work he's put in, to see why he's that good.
If you do a little bit of research on SEC basketball, you can look at Ole Miss, Kentucky, Auburn, and say, damn, half their roster was probably in the top 100. You know what I mean? Like, so.
But Bryce, here's the problem. Let's say it was. I'm playing you, right? And your kid is going to Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. And my kid, who probably is not as good as that, drops 20 on your kid.
Yeah.
Somebody in that kid's circle, he good enough to go to Ole Miss too.
Most definitely. We see it all through live periods.
Hey, but Coach, we'll get that. And them kids didn't even guard each other in the game.
Facts.
Yeah.
Them kids didn't guard. You have one team that plays zone the whole game, but an Ole Miss kid was on that team playing zone, and the opposing player get 40, or whatever he get, and that means I'm better than him. No, you sat in a 2-3 the whole game, Coach. So we didn't get that matchup.
Yeah, and what you said though earlier, Dre, man, it's two types, like you said though. It's those that sell and don't know, and I can almost forgive those, right? Like you may just not know, like because I may have a guy call me and say, "Hey, man, I think this kid's good enough to play at Ole Miss," and the reality is he may be good enough to be on our team, but he ain't good enough to help us beat Kentucky, right? So it's two different things.
Two different things, yeah.
And now you may have another guy that says that knows, but just overselling. Those guys trying to get me fired.
Hey, Coach, I talk to guys there like that all the time. Remember I was telling you that, Bryce? Yeah. I said, why we keep trying to get coaches fired just because they want their kid to go high major or go to a Division I. I'm like, you gonna get this dude fired. Now you looking at your kid because he in a transfer portal. You got the coach fired, and now you in a transfer portal.
To me, it's very, very hard. That's like to get to the SEC. Like you gotta be incredibly good, in my opinion. As a high school player, prep player, whatever it is, and it's not a lot of kids, and it's no disrespect. I just don't think there's a lot of kids that can play in the SEC, and that's just what it is. That's not to say they can't play mid-major basketball or somewhere where they have a better fit. Like, I mean, I've seen a ton of basketball players and coached a ton of but I haven't picked up the phone and called an SEC school.
I don't think that it's many kids, Bryce, honestly, that as freshmen that are just ready to come in and play college basketball, period.
Yeah, for sure.
Like to play, to be on the team and develop, sure. But to contribute and play more than 10 minutes a game, like as a freshman, can you come in and give 8 to 10 maybe? But to play 10, 12 plus, like I don't think it's a whole lot of freshmen that's ready to do that. Even at a D2 level, Bryce.
Yeah.
Coach, how many times are you looking at a kid that you're actually recruiting and that you like, and you already know which one of your current players is going to eat him up in practice every day?
Oh, I better have some of them because, again, if we don't have someone on the rosters doing it, we're in trouble. But no, I mean, like you said, it's extremely hard to come as a – I don't think – what you said, I wish people really could hear that again and really grasp that concept. It's really, really hard at pretty much every level to come in and play and be good, right? It's a handful of guys that do that. It's some special guys from, for a lot of reasons, whether maturity, where they've been coached, athleticism, all those things. You look at like in our league, Trey Mann, McDonald's All-American at Florida, he's going to be a really good player, all right, at Florida. Scotty Lewis, same guys. Man, they struggled as freshmen. They're going to be really, really good. I mean, Nick Richards at Kentucky this year, right? It took him to his junior year to play to an all-SEC level. He was top 30 in the country. Emmanuel Quickley, he had some good players that he played, with them. But Emmanuel Quickley the same way, so as a freshman, didn't play a whole lot, played behind some guys. Now the sophomore, he took off. So it's extremely hard. It's extremely hard. And I try to get guys to understand. So that's a part of it too. Like if you come in and you realize how hard it is, it'll help you understand how hard you got to work in that year and just overall to be as good as you want to be. Like we had a kid, Terrence Davis. He was here before we got here, but we coached him for a season. His freshman year, he averaged 1.5 points per game. He's averaging 8 points as a rookie in the NBA with the Raptors right now. So he struggled early on, man, and he got better. So it's extremely hard. So, I just think, that's one of the things I wish kids and coaches and parents would understand just how hard it is to come in immediately and play and be really, really good. It takes time.
So comparing a high school kid to somebody like Emmanuel Quickley or somebody in your league is probably not a good idea.
No. Not at all. Well, when they say, hey,
no, not at all.
Because he's a pro. Yeah. So, and he struggled with it. You know what I mean? So so that's what, a lot of times I respond now when they say, hey, we got a kid that's good enough for you at Ole Miss. We got a kid that's good enough in the SEC. I'll say, hey, is he a pro? And if you pause, because now one thing you did say is it's usually a lot harder at this level to miss. I will agree with that, right? You know what I'm saying? So we can recognize guys that are, got a chance to be pros. Right. If you pause and you can't say, oh, I'm questioning it right there, because that's ultimately what you got to have. You got to have pros on your team to be good in this league.
I think it goes back to also, Coach, if Mondre, you can pull up Joe Edmonds. Shout out to you, head coach at Sheldon State, watching us here on the podcast. Too many guys call and say, I got a perfect guy for your level, and I've never seen you play. So there are coaches that can see you play 2 times, one time on Saturday, 12 noon on CBS down here, and then another time on ESPN. Oh, my kid can play for them. But they ain't been to your practice.
No.
They ain't been to a skill development workout that you give. They haven't seen the level of what it takes. And that's not just for your level. That's from any level. That goes down. Even Joe at your level at JUCO. I know that guy can play at that level. And they don't know them goons that's down at that JUCO level. Right, Locke?
Kids don't want that JUCO smoke, dog.
They don't want that. Them grown men.
They don't want that.
Them grown men. You can have somebody our age.
25. Y'all don't want that smoke, dog.
Hey, Coach, I'm finna put you in a hot seat for a second. Now, you might not answer the question.
Is this a food question?
No, it's no food question. This a personal question.
Light him up.
If Ty Fagan came to Ole Miss, will he begin playing time?
You pause me. I think y'all gonna better pause me. But I'm gonna just say he would be, he'd be playing for sure.
Okay.
Let me say it like this: he's an SEC player.
Right.
He's
Okay.
He's good. Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Now, Coach, we can say there's a difference.
That's the question.
There are guys that you got to recruit that will be pros that you can say, oh, he's a pro. But then there are also guys that are program guys that can play at your level, but are program guys that's going to be there 3-4 years. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, you build a roster, right? And so, there's times you take a guy that if you feel good about, and it's harder now because of, used to be you could build a roster like thinking 2 or 3 years ahead. And now just with, portal and guys getting to the NBA, trying to get there as fast as they possibly can, it's harder to do that. So it used to be like where Huffman, you could take a kid, like, for example, you got 2 guys that's good as sophomores, and I'm going to take, now a young guy that we can develop because by the time they're done, now he's going to be a juniors. So it used to be that more of that. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to do it that way. But there are guys you got to have in your program that you feel like, man, going to develop over time. So as you're recruiting, you think about those things, but at the same time too, man, I really try to consciously think about, can this kid be a pro? And that may mean, that doesn't necessarily have to mean NBA. It just may mean, hey, when that guy's done playing college basketball, is he going to get paid to play basketball? Right. And those guys are good too. You know what I mean? Like, so, whether it's Jacory Williams or whether it's Nick King, or I can go down the line, guys that have played, whether G League, played overseas, those guys are all league guys for us at various stops. And so those guys are pros, so pros. So, it can mean more than one thing in terms of just the highest level. So you're recruiting guys hoping that eventually they can be that. But you do have some guys that are program guys, that you need to have, in your program for 2, 3, 4 years.
Do you think that's different at the high major level and mid-major level or low major? Like, trying to find more program guys, maybe?
Yeah, I do think that. And I think that's changing too. But I do think our level is the pressure to win. And I shouldn't say the pressure to win is greater, but there's a greater attention to it. So sometimes the pressure may feel greater, right? But you got to have, like, you miss on a kid. What I found at this level, when you miss on a kid, it hurts you more at this level if you miss on a kid at mid-major level, right? Because that miss it's hard to replace it, or it's hard to substitute. So because of that, I think you had too many program guys, you're gonna be here a long time, And so that's the difference. I think, like, the mid-major level, you got 2 really, really good players. You may have more program guys in your program. And I think you have, then you can start having some stability. And as you're at a place longer, you can allow to do that, even more so. You got some equity in your program. You've probably been winning for a while. Your fan base understands what you guys are doing and what you're building. But, it's harder, I think, at this level to have too many of them. You got to have some guys that can go play, because, patience is at a premium. They want you to win. And, you get all the resources. It's great to have all the resources and bells and whistles, but with all that comes, they want results. So you feel that. So you got to make sure you can't miss too often. If you do, you're gonna feel it for sure.
I think we got a good question from the live chat. We got Coach Allen from Columbus High saying, what can us high school coaches do to help with the adjustment in college for college programs? So basically asking, how can they help get players ready for that college experience?
Yeah. I would say this: if you're a high school coach, and there's some great high school coaches, obviously, I think some of the best high school coaches in Georgia. I mean, I've been around a lot of places, a lot of great high school coaches in Georgia, but really this is just a general statement. If you're a high school coach and you have aspirational goals of having your guys go play in college, what I would suggest is go try to watch as many college practices as you possibly can. And so now, if you do that, you'll have a better idea of what those guys are going to see and experience when they get there. And it should allow you to cater, not necessarily cater, but build your practices and your program to closely resemble that as much as possible. So when they get there, there's not a big learning curve. There's going to be a learning curve no matter what, right? Because it's, high school to college. But if you're going around and watching practices, or even if guys are coming to your gym and asking what they think about your practice, that to me that really helps. Because the teams I look back at it like the players that we've had that's had the most success as freshmen. We touched on that earlier, right? Or the guys, and inevitably, it's the guys who have come from really good programs where they've been coached really well, right? Mm-hmm. So they got an idea how to guard. They've had to run some offensive sets, systems. They usually have won, at a high level. So with winning comes a lot of, intangible things that you get, that you get to be a part of. So that'd be kind of my biggest suggestion, And then the other thing is too, man. Again, like somebody asked me the other day, I was talking to a coach. They said, "Man, what do the guys have to do to be ready to play right away as freshmen?" You got to be able to guard, So those guys understand defensively. Obviously on the ball, that's physical, but then just want to. But then even having concepts away from the basketball, learning how to play, whether it be off the ball, guarding ball screens, everything. So the guys again that come in and more apt to play early, guys that we can trust early to guard in game situations at this level, because the speed of the game is the biggest adjustment, and then the physical part of the game is the second biggest adjustment to me. And so those two things kind of go hand in hand with that part of it. But man, just go watching a lot of practice, college practice if you can, understand what those guys are doing, what they're teaching, and try to implement that to your program in high school. So when your guys do get a chance to get an opportunity to play at that level, they're more prepared.
Coach, is that the same? Does that work the same way for AAU programs? Are those college practices, is it kind of an open door policy for AAU guys, or does it get a little more sketchy because we get a bunch of nonsense thrown at us just for being AAU guys?
No, I mean, I can't speak for every program, but we're always open to any high school and AAU coach that wants to come down to Oxford and come see practice. I said jokingly, but no, Coach Davis is great, man. He'll let anybody come to practice. Sometimes I got to tell Coach, we got to close the door, man. But he welcomes it, So for us, specifically here at Ole Miss, and we love to have coaches and people come watch practice. Because again, I like what Huff said earlier. I think if they come watch his practice, they'll get a better appreciation of our team, how we teach, how we develop, and what's happened for us. The great thing for us is Coach is really hands-on. He's great. I brag on him here, man. He is great at developing guys, and then also just getting guys to practice at a pace and holding guys accountable. So our practices are real intense, real fast paced, real competitive. And so surely guys who really want to get better, who want to be coach hard. So if those coaches come, and then a lot of times what happens is the parents as well kind of flip it that way. They'll see it. Like I go back to KJ Buffin. Mm-hmm. We were battling like Georgia State. We were battling Wichita a little bit. And, man, we got him on the visit. Finally, took a little while to get him there. We was trying to get Sean, his dad, to get up on the car and drive. So long story short, by the time they got to practice or camp, by the time they got to campus, because they drove from Atlanta, the first thing they did was watch practice. And after that practice, Sean said, "That's where I want my boy at, because y'all gonna get him better." So to long answer to your question, man. Yeah, we love guys to come in, watch us practice. I think it helps us, helps AU coaches, help high school coaches get a sense, and it's been one thing that's been really good for us.
So, Coach, if we come to a practice, what we eating at? Where you taking us to eat? I'm a local food guy. I like hitting up all the local food spots.
Yeah. So here's the thing: you haven't been to Oxford yet, have you?
No.
You got to come down. Okay. So here's how I would give you a comparison of it. You been to New Orleans?
Yeah,
I ain't never been. I haven't been there.
Gosh, Locke, come on, man.
We got to get him out of Georgia. So Oxford is like has a little mini feel of New Orleans. Okay. In terms of got this downtown area called the Square. So there's a lot of like little culinary spots, man, depending upon what you like. If you want some soul food, we got Ajax. You want a great steakhouse, we got the Oxford Grill House. You want some Mexican food, we got South Depot. We got a lot of different spots. And you come here, you just tell me what you want. And I'm gonna get you there. Yeah, I even take you to a seafood spot.
I'm gonna make it a little tougher. Now, Locke brought this food question up. I'm gonna bring a city question up. You can only choose one, and I don't need the political answer. You choose an Oxford either. Now, are you gonna go Oxford, Murfreesboro, New Orleans, Charleston, or Houston? Those are 5 of your stops that you've been at. Which one are you going with?
Hey, first I gotta respect Huff because he know where I've been, man. That's that's love. Number two, man, those are unbelievable cities, right?
Yep.
South Carolina, New Orleans, Houston, Texas, and Murfreesboro, like 30 minutes from Nashville. So, and I love Nashville. The answer to your question, I gotta go with Oxford, Mississippi.
That's the recruiter agent. That's the recruiter agent right there.
Well, let me tell you now, they pay the bills. That's the logo I wear. It's the best city in the world.
There you go.
But Coach, Murfreesboro has White Castles, Coach.
Yeah,
Oh.
Murfreesboro has White Castles, Coach.
Hey, I'll say this though, Huff. I'll say this: New Orleans is my second favorite city in the world.
Gotcha.
So to answer your question, I truly do. I love Nola, man. I love the Big Easy. Last time I went on vacation, I think we went to New Orleans. So, man, I got a special place for the 504.
Being at your different stops, man, you know, like I know what's been the biggest difference from making that jump. Like, you know, what have you seen now being in the SEC? Like, man, that's a little bit different than when we were at Middle Tennessee.
Right. So you know, again, we go back to from a standpoint of guys telling you about players that's good enough, not good enough, right? So and Coach and Bryce said it, right? So when you talk about SEC, man, it's to play at this level and be good it's rare. I mean, not rare, but it's you got to be really, really good, right? I mean, I preface it like you got to be really, really, really good. And I knew that, you know, that wasn't lost on me. But what happens is that pool of guys that can really elevate you, it shrinks the higher level you are, right? So at the mid-major level, at middle, and obviously we went at a high level there. I mean, we get in the NCAA tournament winning games, but you can go maybe find a guy, you may miss on one, you may miss on your second, your third one, you can still get a really good player. Or you can take a high major transfer, and you know we can do it a little different ways. You go get a JUCO guy and play at that level and be really good. So as the pool of guys that can really help you shrinks, it makes it that much more competitive, right? In terms of the guys you got to go get. So that's the biggest difference. I mean, all the other stuff is the same: relationships, recruiting, scouting, the player development. And I had to quote my man C.Y. Charlton Young, right? There's some silverback gorillas in the SEC, right? So man, hey, the competition is fierce. I mean, it's fierce from players, from coaches, from institutions, from programs. So just doing it at that level, you know, presents a whole nother challenge. You know, you got great programs, great head coaches, great recruiters at every place in this league and in every Power 5 school. So, you know, the pressure to still be able to do it at the highest level, gets a little harder, like anything, you know, as you go up a level, whether it be NBA or whatever, you know, in business, if you go up, you get to the top, it gets harder and harder. So that's the thing. But it goes back to like, we got to get the right guys for us, and we're going to grind and work at it, you know, but that's probably the biggest difference, huh? You know, just that talent level is shrunk a little bit. There's not enough guys, but man, the competition for it is fierce. So you got to find a way, man. You know, you got to grind and get after it every single day, you know, to get it done.
I think they get an SEC. I don't want to say a bad rap, but they always say ACC, but they don't realize. I mean, we can run down a list of coaches in the SEC now. Coach Davis. I mean, we everybody know Coach Cal. Coach Davis has won. Coach Green has won. Ben Howland has won. Cuzzo Martin has won. Rick Barnes has won. Like, we can keep going down the list of dudes that's in the SEC that has won at a high level. So understand what the SEC is about when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I mean, look, think about it. I mean, you just mentioned Cal, one of the best in the business, right? Mm-hmm. You got Rick Barnes, who went to the NCAA tournament at Texas 12 out of 13 times, had Kevin Durant, had Tristan Thompson. I mean, just Avery Bradley. Names go on and on and on and on and on, right? Mm-hmm. Ben Howland went to 3 straight Final Fours. Crean had Dwayne Wade went to a Final Four. Bruce Pearl that just went to a Final Four, right? It's, Florida is a program
Yep.
What's the last program that won back-to-back national championships?
Florida.
Florida.
Frank Martin went to a 5-4,
Yep.
right? So, and obviously Buzz is a big time coach, tremendous coach, and Musselman, So the league has gotten better and better and better and better. We know, man, how good and competitive the league is. It's not lost on us. So we understand it every day. We walk in the office, but at the same time, man, I love the challenge. To be honest, it's knowing if you're getting it done at this level, man, you're doing it in one of the best leagues with some of the best coaches and some of the best players in all of college basketball. So, it's what we hope to sign up for. So I look at it like it's a tremendous challenge, tremendous opportunity, man. But it's fun though when you get in those games and those arenas. That's the fun part, You actually get to go compete against all those teams night in, night out. You get in the league play, and that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Coach, we talked to CY, and we congratulated them for winning the ACC. Saying and mentioned that he wasn't supposed to be able to do that at a football school.
Yeah.
What's your experience been like? Because Mississippi football is still king, right?
No doubt, 100%. Yeah, I mean, football is going to always be probably the number one sport here at Ole Miss and in this state. But I don't think that's a disadvantage. I think it's an advantage for us because we've had success in terms of beating Alabama on a national stage. So it gives us some notoriety to kids, whether it be football or basketball. They've had numerous pros in football, so again, it just kind of helps the overall, program and the whole athletic department. And we just hired a coach, Lane Kiffin, who I think is going to do a terrific job here. And so when football is good, I think, it helps us be good. Because the other thing is, if you haven't been to campus, man, you come on a football weekend here, they got a thing called the Grove. I don't know if y'all heard of it. Man, it's like nothing else I've ever seen. And I'm a football guy now, remember. And I mean, they got it where, man, it's like the biggest outdoor party you can imagine. And so we love it. Because obviously kids get here and they love the experience. And they have a saying, man, that doesn't pertain to football. I think Tim Brando was the one that said it. But and I can attest to it. They said they red shirt Miss Americas at Ole Miss. Hey, look, you come on a football weekend, you can see why, no, but we welcome it, man. It's great. You go to the pageantry of the SEC football, it doesn't get any better. You get kids on the sidelines and just, tailgating and all of those things. It makes for a great environment. And we're just trying to kind of really piggyback off those guys' success and try to do the same thing from the basketball side of things.
Man, Coach, I'm looking back over y'all schedule, and we talked about this when Chad Dollar was on from Georgia too. The margin of victory, like the point margin between a win and a loss in the SEC, is so close. Like
no doubt.
2-3 possessions, last 2 minutes of a game. Is it gonna come a time where high school freshmen, where it's going to get harder and harder to recruit high school freshmen because you need guys that understand how to play in those crucial moments? Or is that something that you still feel like I can get a freshman in and we could get them up to speed as long as the talent enough is there to be able to play in so many close games like that?
Yeah, ultimately what we kind of experienced this year, you can't be too young in this league and be good, right? So you may have a couple on your team, but if you got enough experience, then it gives you a better chance to win those close games. Because you said it best. I mean, even this year, we didn't have a year we wanted to have. We ended up winning 15 games. But if you really think about it, right, there's about 5-6 games. Like we lead Auburn by 19 at our place and lose in double overtime. Yep. We lose Kentucky in Rupp Arena. We got the ball with 22 seconds left with the ball in our hands with a chance to win the game. We up 8 with under 5 against Arkansas at home. We're up 11 against Texas A&M. So just 4 or 5 games, we win 20 games, probably get the NCAA tournament, and there everybody's patting us back. We may get another extension, So it's that fine line of winning and losing. But we had 8 new guys this year that didn't play college basketball. 8. And so when you combine that, we had a couple of injuries and just lost some close games, some tough luck stuff, but you just can't be too young. You can have some 2 or 3 freshmen. Like the year before, our first year, we had 2 freshmen that pretty much played a lot. KJ Buffin played about 20 minutes a game, averaged about, I think, 6-7 points as a freshman, which is big time in this league. And another kid, Blake Henson. But the rest of those guys were seniors. Terrence Davis, Bruce Stevens, Dom Olenichik. We had Brian Tyree, who was a junior at the time. So we won a lot of those close games. So I think you just can't be too young. You want to have some freshmen that are really good. Now, if this one-time transfer things passes, I think that's going to change a lot, because now all of a sudden, is it more beneficial to get a kid that's a sophomore that's played in college basketball, whatever league it may be, right? And you've been in a college program, been in a college weight room. He can go to you as a sophomore, have 3 years of play, and can play right away, as opposed to getting a high school guy that you got to really go through that progression and adjustment with, So it's going to flip it, I think. So we're going to see here soon what kind of happens with that. I think that's going to totally change, a little bit of kind of the recruiting philosophy and thought process. You're going to have to plan and maybe have some in the spring for those type of guys. But, man, we learned firsthand, kind of the hard way. Man, you can't be too young in this league. If you do, you get ate up a little bit.
You talked about planning, Coach. Does that mean, like, if this thing passes, so you typically have, like, this board and say, all right, we know we're going to need 2 guards, a wing, and a post, and let's say it's 2022 class. But you also got to have in the back of your mind, like, we may need something else just in case a kid decides to leave for whatever reason. Does it make it more – do you have to kind of predict more, like, in the middle of the season, like, this kid may leave us because he ain't getting the time he thought he was going to get?
Yeah, no doubt. It's so many factors, man. So you think about it, right? You got your current guys, and I've always had this thought process. Coach says it all the time. Well, you better recruit the guys you got. Those are your most important recruits, because if you can keep those guys as good with you, then you got a chance to sustain, and have success. So you got to keep that in mind. You're always trying to do that, but still you can get surprised, right? Guys can leave you. Sometimes what happens is guys may, even when they get there early and they struggle a little bit, like we talked about freshmen, how hard it is. Well, just that small piece of, not small piece, but that fact that they may have to go sit a year will say, you know what, man, I'm gonna fight through this. It may be just that part of it itself, outside of, recruiting them and develop relationship with them and talking to the people and keeping that circle, on the same page. So when that rule, if it passes, that changes all that now, because there gonna be some kids at the first sign of, it may be your foreign tour in the summer, and they ain't playing, and they out of there before you come back in the fall, right? So that's gonna be I think we're gonna have to all kind of figure that out as we go a little bit. But then on the flip side, from a recruiting standpoint, think about this, Hup. So you got the early signing period, right? And so now let's say you got 4 scholarships. Well, it's going to be some kids in the spring that's going to at some point say, okay, if I can go play right away, I'm going to transfer. So you're going to be less inclined to sign all 4 guys in the fall. But you're going to want to have a couple of them in the spring for those one-time transfer guys, right? And then on top of that, it go back to what you said. Now it makes it that much harder to have your program guys, right? You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be trying to get guys that can go play and produce and been good. Your program guys are going to be the one-time transfers, because now once you get them, they can't transfer again without sitting out. So they become real valuable, man. Real valuable. You get a freshman that's played, and they've got 3 years, you really can't transfer again. Those are going to be your program guys, for the most part, unless they're trying to leave early and go to the NBA or go, whatever the case may be from a pro standpoint. So it's going to make it difficult. The thing, like in my mind, is for the high school guys, if a guy's on a borderline, like you say, I think he's good. I think he could be good in maybe 2 or 3 years. He's long, especially maybe those like not project guys, but guys that have upside. It's going to be harder to take a guy as a high school guy with that thought process. It's going to have to be those guys for sure when they come in as freshmen, they can be like, there's no brainers. Because you'll wait and see if you can get a one-time transfer kid that's produced and already shown he can do it at our level.
Coach, what's your gut reaction to two different things? Number one, the guys that are going directly to this NBA elite development program.
Yeah.
Just gut reaction to how that impacts college basketball.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, to be honest. I mean, because I think you have some kids that in their mind they already want to pursue the professional aspect of it, right? So this gives those guys a chance to immediately jump into that process or that development. Whether it be Jalen Green or I guess Deshaun Nix, a couple of guys have already decided to do it. Have no intention or no want to be in college. Because of the one and done, you can't do it otherwise, right? So I don't think it'll affect maybe top 5, 10, 15 programs at times, or I shouldn't say those, the top 5, 10, 15 kids in the country, maybe a few more down the line. I don't think it'll necessarily hurt college basketball. It gives a different pathway for kids that opportunity. I'd be interested to know kind of like the one that kind of surprised me was the kid that's going to UCLA, just from the standpoint he already signed. Yeah, he already signed. So, I would love to know if the G League reached out to him and try to persuade him to, get out of that commitment to UCLA, or the kids, people around him reached out to the G League, who initiated what contact, because if they start doing that now, then that becomes a little bit more adversarial, not in a violent way, but just if you sign a kid, you would hope that you don't have the NBA trying to recruit the kid. So I think, we got to kind of give it some time to see how it really impacts everything. On the surface, my gut reaction is I think it's going to be a handful of kids that'll take advantage of it, but it'll be a handful of kids that you would already know going to think about it anyway, right? So, like 2 years ago, we all kind of, people that's tied in and glued in to college basketball knew probably R.J. Hampton and LaMelo Ball was going to go play pro at some point in fashion, So there's some guys you already know about it, you don't even pursue it anyway. So I think we'll see kind of just how the G League pursues guys, and then that'll tell us how much it really affects, overall college basketball.
Does it stop you guys from recruiting a guy like that really hard? Like, do you feel like, okay, yes, he's done? You try to get a feel for what he's thinking.
Yeah, I think that's the communication part, right? So like, if it's an elite kid, I think you probably got to ask that question. If you get wind that they talking to the G League, hey, what's your thoughts? Now, again, I mean, we saw the kid from UCLA. He changed his mind or decide to do that regardless. So I do think you got to have those conversations. As you're talking to kids, but it's tough. I mean, you sign a kid, and you get a kid you think is going to be really good. And obviously, if they're good enough to go to the G League, they're really, really talented. And to lose them late or to lose them in that process makes it difficult. So, and depending upon where you're at, you can absorb it probably a little bit better than others. So if you get Kentucky and you lose a kid to the G League, they can probably absorb it right now a little bit better than us at Ole Miss if it happened to us. So I think we got to be able to have conversations with those kids if they're talking and having dialogue with the G League about kind of what they're thinking. So that's kind of what on the surface right now that I think that we got to kind of approach it that way.
This question is kind of for our kids, our players, and parents that are watching. And I feel like we know the expectations of making shots and, being able to hit shots at a high clip, but parents and players don't necessarily know. When you go to a gym, and I actually remember watching you, I think you can't watch Westlake game, but when you're watching a kid, how many shots does he need to make? Is it 3 for 5 from the 3-point line? You know what I mean? Because what if a kid goes, I don't know, he has a rough day one day, or he comes back and he goes 5 for 5 from the 3-point line. So I think a lot of people and all coaches want people who can make shots.
Right. No doubt.
So what are you looking for when you come to the gym? What's with the percentages? What is it?
Bryce, you're trying to ask if he takes 30 shots to get 30 points. Is
that too?
Well, I'll tell you, like for me personally, so I'm not a guy that goes and checks the box score after a game. Right? I don't run over after the game's over and see the kid score, because for me personally, man, I'm watching, like from a shooting standpoint, and the fact you said that, it goes back like well, Huff said, hey, do you watch guys that can play for Coach Davis? So the first question Coach going to ask me is, can he shoot? Because, like, that's a big thing in terms of how we play. So, like, the guys who can't shoot at all, or you don't think, like, can eventually be good shooters, they kind of go to the back of the line for me in a sense, right?
Right.
But when I'm watching, you can get a sense a lot of times, even if a kid's 0 for 6, just by nature of how they shoot the basketball, or just watch them just course of just playing, if they're a good shooter. Good shooters, can be good shooters and have a bad shooting night. You know what I mean? Now, you get opportunity to see a kid play, more than once. Hopefully in this process, we get to see him in different settings, high school, AAU, we get to see him multiple times. So usually if you see him enough, the truth ends up bearing itself out. But for me, like, I've had a good feel for being able to watch guys and see and figure out, like, this kid either is a really, really good shooter right now, or mechanically he may not be a great shooter at the moment, but he is there to where with reps and development he can be. Yeah. And I really never even worry about percentages and numbers, to be quite honest. And I don't even really worry about how many points a kid score. Right. I mean, sometimes that may sound like cliches, but really, I'm watching so many other things besides that. Like, man, just motor and toughness, and just, do they impact the game without the basketball? Can they do that? Because a lot of guys, can have the ball and do a lot of stuff.
Can you say that louder for the people in the back? Impact the game without the basketball.
Here's the reality, Huff. Like, when you get to this level, probably you're not going to be asked to score a lot as a freshman. And so it goes back to, how can you get on the floor? Can you defend? Can you rebound? Can you get other guys better? And so if they can do that, man, like, shoot, that immediately catches my attention, And so from the shooting standpoint, it's important for us here, especially with Coach, that, man, they can make shots. They you can watch them and see that they're going to eventually be able to make shots. It has to be a special kid for us to watch him and feel like, man, he's never going to be a shooter at all. But there's so much more to it that, it goes into it for us to really kind of, fall in love with a kid.
Coach, what you playing in the locker room for your players, man? What you bumping to? What you listening to, man?
Hey, that's a great question. That's a great question. Well, I'm a Drake guy, so I like Drake.
That's two.
Yeah. I like Drake, you know what I'm saying? Because I ain't got a little older, man. I don't like it too hard. I can't do too hard. But every once in a while, them guys will play something, and I'll be like, man, who is that? So I don't know the artist now. I just know the songs. So
what song you rocking to, Coach? What song it is?
Right now?
Like? Yeah.
I got the Drake album on shuffle right now, man. I put on my Drake now. I'm a Sophie too now. I'm a big Jacquees fan. So, like, okay. That's some of that New Orleans in me right there, Huff. Where I like the young fella.
He's R&B right now. He the king of
R&B guy. So I listen to Jacquees. So I'm more of an R&B guy. But game times, man, what I will do is, because I kind of sit, probably about a couple rows behind Coach when we get on the bus. I do have my AirPods in. Man, that's my ritual. We get on the bus from the hotel to the game. I got to put on some rap music then, just to get in that mindset. So I'm a player in that standpoint. So. But it's usually Drake, and then what I do is I got like I got a Get Crunk playlist, and if I hear something, I add it to it. So that's usually what my go-to is on game day. I just kind of repeat, hit shuffle, hit repeat, hit shuffle, and rock with it like that.
I got you.
Hey, man, fellas, I think it's about that time, man. Y'all wanna show some kids?
I don't have no more 20 kids left. Just 2021.
I found some more, Bryce. Stay out there. You better be looking.
You gonna have to give. It's gonna be some incentive for me to look that hard.
They out there now. You just gotta find them.
Hey, Coach, know every high school coach.
I say Huff know
in a 500-mile square radius. Come on, Coach.
Hey. I am gonna show it 2021 today, though. Just because y'all been trying to do it.
So, Coach, we like to take about 15 minutes or so to show love to some players who would have been able to showcase their talents on the AAU circuit, try to get offers, guys that may not be seen. We try to stick to sleepers, although we do show love to some guys that people already know, but we try to stick to the sleepers.
I love sleepers, man.
Opportunity, man. Just give them an opportunity to be seen to our audience. A lot of coaches watch the show, so we try to show love and try to help kids find a way if we can. So now it's always a battle of who goes first, and most
Let me go first.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bryce going first.
I was trying to I got to the bathroom.
He called dibs on that one.
I know.
I'm trying to get it done real quick.
So, Coach, if you want to watch, you can watch, man. If you want to go mute, you can mute, or however you want to do it, man. But we might have something on here you like, man. You never know.
No, I gotta stay on here because he might be a pro.
There's a kid that I'm about to show. Hopefully it works. Because sometimes my thing don't work. There's a kid, that ain't it. It's just kind of like there all the time. But this kid, I feel like if we would have had live period, he would be on everybody's board. Like I think he has the potential to be that good. So he transferred this year, had to sit out because of the transfer situation. So they jammed him up. He didn't play. He hasn't played basketball in a year. Let me see if I can share it for you real quick. He's at Lanier High School, so he plays with Andrew McConnell.
I do know who you're talking about, Bryce. He can play. He can play.
I have a feeling. Let me make sure I can get it right before y'all see. Yeah, can you see what's on there? Oh, that's coming out now.
Make it larger, Bryce.
I see a blank YouTube channel. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Restart.
All right. So Makai Vassell from Lanier High School, 2021. He's like 6'5".
Hold on. His mixtape 8 minutes long.
Nah. It's just a bunch of. It's a bunch of. This is the last time he played basketball. It was last summer. It's been a whole year. So this is all he had. See if I can play it.
8 minutes.
Distracting me. Nah, we ain't gonna play the whole thing, bro. We ain't gonna play the whole thing. I'm about to play 45 seconds for you.
Ooh.
So I mean, this is all he had. This is the last time he's played basketball. Besides, and of course, he was gonna play with us this year and coming to some workouts and stuff. But this dude, I mean,
2021.
He's 2021. I don't think anybody really. Of course, Huff knows, but a lot of people don't really know about him. I don't think.
Is he playing this year?
Bryce, he looked like he's on 6'6".
Huh?
Yeah, he's another transfer from Mill Creek. He was the one that couldn't get eligible.
He was working out with us and stuff, and I had some college dudes come. He was locking them up, and I think he's gonna get it done, man. I really do. So,
how tall is he, Bryce?
He's 6'5" and a half, 6'6". He's up there.
He looked like he about that size too.
And this is last summer, so this
I like his frame, Bryce.
Oh yeah, he's ready to go. He's tough. He was one of my dudes in April that was probably gonna break out. And then the other one.
Shout out to Coach Mayweather at Lanier. You got you another one, boy. I see you.
Yeah, that's a good player, Bryce. That's the kid.
Oh, there go the bandwidth.
Bandwidth, he out of there.
There you go. There we go. It never fails.
Bryce out of there.
Hey, Coach Hamilton, it happened every week. It happened every week.
Hey, look.
Every week, Bryce Bandwidth.
Bryce Bandwidth. Hey, we need to start a Twitter account called Bryce Bandwidth.
Yeah.
It kicked me out. I don't know what I did. Hold up. Here you go.
We know what you did.
Hey, Bryce, you can't have that dial-up router.
Man, I got AT&T. That's what it is. Y'all can see this? You can see it? Kyle Duncan.
All right,
Kyle Duncan, 2020, another 2021 kid. He's probably about 6'4" at this point. Let me turn that sound off for you. High academic, very high academic kid.
Former
What do you say? Georgia exclusive? Yeah.
Yeah. Former freshman U kid.
Freshman U, Georgia. This is at Sean's camp on the radar camp. I don't know when. Probably maybe the last one. I don't remember.
No, he wasn't at the last one.
That looks like the NCAA camp.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but on the radar logo on it. That's why I got confused.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he's at Centennial High School. Like I said, about 6'4". I guess you can call him a two.
Hey, he's shooting them contested like it ain't nothing, dog. Hand down.
Very well. He's a very unselfish kid. Makes the right decision. Will give.
What's his name again?
Kyle Duncan.
Kyle what? Duncan?
Duncan, yeah.
I played Centennial this year.
He's a sleeper kid, but I think he's quiet under the radar. He kind of does his job and keeps him moving. But he's gotten better to where I feel like he can, at some point get to that Ivy League level. Yeah. So
did he play? Was he gonna play with you or the Hype Hawks this summer?
I guess he's gonna play with Hype Hawks. I didn't really pursue it too aggressively. So
he wasn't good enough to put a Canes jersey.
Nah. I've coached him since he was in elementary school. We cool.
Yeah, that was then. I'm talking about now.
Nah, he's good enough. He's good enough. I mean, the thing about it is a lot of those kids who were around back then, it's almost like they feel like I ain't got the juice. So it's like they want to play with Hype Hawks or something like that, man.
Bryce
keep my mouth closed.
Bryce taking shots. He's taking shots.
I got hey, look, I really could get Bryce going right now.
Give me
No, don't get him going. Don't get him going. We won't get him.
But nah, it's all cool. I seen my man from Hype Hawks and Whiskey Mistress not too long ago. We chopped it up. It's all love. But yeah,
Whiskey Mistress during the quarantine.
Nah, this was right before the quarantine, though.
Bro, hey, do you see how Huff just put you out there like that, bro?
Hey,
dog.
He said Whiskey Mistress. I did. I just wanted to know what to do.
Hey, I was about to say we got VIP haircuts, VIP restaurants.
I ain't been a Whiskey Mistress. I ain't been a Whiskey in a minute. But best believe when they open back up,
you're gonna be there on a Thursday night, ain't you?
With a mask on.
I put my boy out on the street, boy. That's cold-blooded. All right, who going? Those are two good kids, Bryce.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go. I'll start at Archer High School. CJ Hines.
I like CJ.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Joel out there at Archer. Once this comes up, the one thing you're gonna know about any kid that plays at Archer, they're gonna play defense.
Yeah. Gonna play defense.
But the kid is really good, man. 6'1" combo guard. He's got a 3.85 GPA and an 1160 SAT score to start it off. But as you can see, defense wins. I think the first 3 or 4 of his clips is going to be him on the defensive end.
It's a good recovery right there, too.
Yep. He ended up averaging 15.4 points a game this year, 4.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists. He made 72 threes at a 41% clip. Go call Coach Pierce about it. He'll tell you how tough he was.
And with grades like that, and he's still out here on the market.
Now he has some. He has some a couple of D2 and NAI offers. Well, he had interest. Some people haven't sealed the deal. I'll say that. Coach Joel's kids are tough too, man. So you talking about they play defense, they're tough, they get after it.
A lot of talent in Georgia, man. We got guys like that still walking around.
Yeah.
Who we got next, Coach?
All right. Let's go to the JUCO round. I know Locker like this one. Champ Dawson.
My boy Champ.
I got to show my boy Champ Dawson some love. And Rico Dawson.
On the foul.
Yep. You talking about a kid, number one, once it comes up, a kid who is a champ. Finished his high school year, his high school season as a champion. 2 seasons at JUCO, he's a champion. What else do you want?
And he started at point guard both years at JUCO level.
Been to Hutch 2, obviously they didn't get a chance to go this year, but, Hutch 2 straight years. So he's another kid that, can help somebody's program who's still out there. I was actually that's Georgia Highlands, the championship game. That's the game me, Cam, and CB were at before we went to the state championship in Macon. Really like the kid, man.
Hey, son of a coach, man. Son of a coach. Knows the game very well.
And you saw his numbers, man. Probably, some people may say, well, he should score more, do all this. But he was so balanced around everything, man. Good pull-up jumper right there.
Rico Dawson. Champ Dawson. Boom.
Good hezzy.
He ain't got bigger, didn't he?
Yeah, strong guard.
Yeah, he ain't got bigger, yeah.
Strong guard.
Champ done been in that weight room, bro.
That's why they've been to Hutch now.
Where we going next, Coach?
All right, so this is the first time I done showed a 2021 kid. I'm going to take you down to Sharpsburg, Georgia. Trinity Christian. Isaac Brito. Shout out to Coach De La Cruz down there. Isaac Brito, man, is a kid who can play. 6'4" point guard. Averaged 15.8 this year, 5.2 rebounds, 6 assists. Kid can just get after it.
Oh, I know this kid.
Oh, you dunked on.
Yeah. I told you this kid can go now.
Hey.
Point guard?
Point guard.
Oh.
Hey, he looked at the cheerleaders too. I feel you, dog.
Hey, who did Lock? Who he played in the Under Armour circuit? I swear I seen this kid before somewhere.
I don't know.
I swear. Tough.
Ooh.
He up on that rim. I know that.
Yeah. He look like he's strong too.
Oh, very strong. Very strong.
Hey.
Ooh.
He's been coached too. Coach De La Cruz makes sure his guys don't take plays off.
Hey, he's a good coach.
De La Cruz, we got a Canes jersey for you over here.
He makes the right basketball decisions. They have players now. You're talking about the kid, John Carlos, who's going to Presbyterian. They had another kid who was going to North Georgia, the other big. So they've got players out there. The other guard, I think he's going prep. So I'm just glad Coach La Cruz didn't put a highlight versus us in there because he ate us up.
That's tough.
That's a tough gym to play in down there. I've been down there.
Oh yeah,
it's tough.
That's a good kid too, Coach.
So I guess I'll go. I got a kid. All of y'all probably heard his name probably a couple years ago. Y'all remember D. Martin out of Middle Georgia? They used to play with Randy, the Atlanta Cavs. And hold on. Let me pull up this kid. Hold on. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Kid out of Middle Georgia. Played with Mary Perkins.
Okay.
Man, he just shot that from the timeline, bro.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay.
What year is he, Lock? He 2020?
He's 2020.
Now, what's his name again, Lock?
D. Martin out of Middle Georgia.
Hey, Mary Persons. Mary Persons. He plays at Upson Lee, not Mary Persons.
No. He played at Mary Persons. You're right. He played at Mary Persons.
And Mary Persons has some kids, man. Cam Holden, who what did Cam just commit to for Chicago?
No, Clarence went to Wichita. I think Cam went to where did Cam Holden go?
Cam Holden went to Mary Persons out of high school, but he went JUCO down in Florida, and he committed somewhere just recently. I can't remember.
Yeah, but big guard, I think D will make a a good NAIA program, good SIC middle division 2, or a solid JUCO. Just a big guard, good size. Can y'all see that he can shoot it a little bit, has good court vision. And like I said, just like the South Georgia kid, just plays really, really hard and just want to get an opportunity to play at the next level.
That's right. UT Martin. That's what Cam Holden just committed to. UT Martin, the OVC.
This kid seemed like, to me, the JUCOs will be jumping all over him. I mean,
yeah, I think he'll make a good 2-year program, especially like one of the Georgia JUCOs.
I wonder why he doesn't have anything.
He's kicking the ball out really well. I've seen 2 kickouts.
He's making the right basketball play, Bryce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's D Martin out of Middle Georgia. Now, this is my South Georgia cat I was just put on earlier this week. He's out of the same school. He's out of
2021?
No, he's 2020 also. Let me turn on the music. This kid here is crazy.
Hey.
Oh. What school is he at?
He's out of Liberty County, the same kid that I mentioned from last week, the 6'7" kid. This is a 2020 kid I was put on by EJ Brown.
Oh yeah, I saw him tweet that out. EJ you got to watch EJ, man. That's the Newt, but that's the bro, the rapper. He be holding out sometimes.
Nah, he don't. He be getting. That kid we told last week. This is his teammate, and he was like, "I got a kid that's even better." And I was like,
this dude right here. I mean, my goodness. I got to go down to Liberty County and watch some games.
Man, they always have athletes down there, man.
Yeah, boy, them shit.
Like I say, a 6'5", super explosive. I think he's the best unknown kid that no one knows about. Like no one.
Gotta be. Who did he play AAU with last year?
He probably didn't play.
I was about to say he might did.
Shit, I might got a spot for him in July. Well, if it's the July.
Let me show some skill stuff.
Somebody said, man, he's only got one offer, and it's for football.
Yeah, he looks like a football player. He's big.
Shout out to my guy Fletcher.
Who, Ben Fletcher?
Nah, Daryl Fletcher who said that.
Daryl Fletcher, okay.
Yeah. Oh, they crossed that dude right.
He nice though.
Yeah, he's out of Hinesville, out of Liberty County. Not down shot.
Oh yeah.
Liberty County always got players.
Always. So he's probably like one of the biggest sleepers that I've seen so far. That I can see he can really do something at the next level.
If he can make shots, that really sets him. Like that really helps him if he can make shots with that athleticism.
Boom.
I'd like to see him in a live period setting for sure. Definitely.
He's another kid, I think, a year of prep, maybe a year of JUCO too.
I think he's shooting the ball like this.
That's what I'm saying, Bryce. This athleticism, and he can make shots.
He got a chance. A good chance.
So, as always, the South got something to say.
No doubt. I'm gonna go with a high academic kid. My first kid is Joseph Scott, a 6'6" forward, 3.7 GPA. He a 2021 out of Denmark High School.
You talking about Denmark where Sutton? Oh yeah, Sutton team.
But Sutton and Robert Coward go. Oh yeah, that's him putting on his head. Is that him?
Hey,
on his neck.
Denmark might have a chance in 4A next year.
Denmark's gonna be good. Yeah, as long as they got Sutton running the show, they be straight.
Man,
look how you see that pass? Put that thing right there.
Hey. We're looking at this kid, but these plays that Sutton is making.
I'm with you, Locke. I'm with you.
That is cold, bro. He's cold.
High academic kid, man. I think.
Look at that pass.
Oh yeah, Sutton killed him.
Mark has had a lot of these kids that are like in that 6'6" range that pretty athletic.
I like kids that know what they are and know what they do, man. Like this kid, I'm gonna run the floor, I'm gonna defend the rim, I'm gonna catch, and I'm gonna finish.
Yep.
Like and take
back cut
class
from back cut right there.
Yeah, kid that knows how to play the game.
Hey, you see what gym that is, right, Locke? You saw what gym that was?
Yeah. Hey man, this seems like it's Sutton mixtape also.
Yo, shout out to my guy Sutton. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he's checking in.
Fort Valley.
But yeah. Good kid, man.
They made it to the Final Four?
Yeah. Like Sandy Creek made it to the Final Four.
Good kid. The other kid that I want to show is out of Grovetown. This is 2021.
That's Coach Darren Douglas, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my guy
This
Darren Douglas.
Out of Grovetown. Don't jump.
Oh, I ain't expect to see that 6'1".
Yeah, most of them don't, but don't jump though.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't jump. Yeah, very explosive player. You know, with Coach Douglas, he's been coached really well. Can finish, gonna play defense, then go convert.
I like that.
He go get it.
He's 2022. Did I miss that?
He's 2021.
Okay, yeah.
shout out to my man Terry, man, the new head coach at Meadow Creek, man. Terry Smith.
Terry Smith in the Meadow Creek team will also be at the Big South. Little plug.
The hospitality room was pretty good too, Huff.
Hey man, we try to make sure. Shout out to my parents for that, man. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
You be running out of Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
Because people like you be trying to get 3 of them, dog.
I'm there the entire day, Huff.
You right.
First game.
You right.
We got a hoops hitting gym kid too that I want to show real quick. This is
Jams on the check-in.
Facts. This is Donovan Peoples from Detroit Douglas. He's a 6'5" guard / wing player, 3.6 GPA, 1070 on the SAT. So let me cut that sound for you though.
Please do.
Yeah, we couldn't see it yet either.
I got you.
He's a lefty?
Lefty, 6'5", got a really smooth stroke. Like as many of those as he got on here, I don't understand why people was backing up. But
and where's he from?
Detroit.
D-Town.
You see what my boy Terry just said? Like put that on the video.
I see it, Locke.
Hey.
He don't want to have fried chicken in the hospitality room in Buckhead, man. He be acting brand new, man.
No. That's a mistake. We had fried chicken one of those days. Didn't last long, but we had it.
It didn't. I had to leave to go to Marietta Diner.
No, you left because somebody was taking you to Marietta Diner. Let's get that right.
I like this kid's stroke. Yeah, somebody took him. I like this kid's left hand stroke. I like his stroke. I remember that. Somebody took him in there. He ain't go by himself.
Hey, man, shout out to my dog, Coach Reedy, man, from CVCC. He took me to Marietta Diner.
Hey, and he was rocking with us all day, man, trying to find players. Shout out to his head coach, Ben Hicks, too.
Ben, you gonna listen to me one day. You gonna listen to me?
So what's in the hospitality room this time, Huff?
Hey, so closer we get to the event, we'll know. But our parents lay it out for you, man. Our parents lay it out. And the MLK event too. If you ever come through the MLK event, we lay it out. And then Chris, shout out to Chris Williams. I showed you some love today, Chris.
Hey,
See that?
Chris,
You
big
did,
thing.
yeah, you did a big thing bring that college event to Atlanta, man. So I wore my hoops giving shirt just for you, Chris Williams. Shout out to you.
That's
Hey.
the
All facts. That's huge.
that's a couple years ago, right? That's 2019. I thought that was
Nah, that's last year, man. Come on now.
that was Green Forest and Westlake Green Forest when I was in it. The Colin one, Trayvon.
And that one was crazy.
Hey, so coach, I asked every coach this after this segment. What keeps you engaged when you watching all these highlight tapes? Because I know y'all get a ton of them.
Yeah.
So, like I say, the one of the coaches always tell me, man, Matlock, they got some good music.
I like the music. I mean, it got the first 30 seconds. It's got to just grab my attention, some form, some fashion, whether it's something athletically, something from a shot making standpoint, or something just passing. If I saw 8 minutes like that first one, I know I ain't watching 8 minutes of it. So you can you ain't gonna keep my attention span that long for no highlight tape. But if they can immediately catch my eye with something just off the bat, and that's why I tell man, it's like, man, shoot, dating. I mean, shoot,
Yeah.
make a first impression, right? So, man, bring your best in the first 15, 30 seconds, catch attention, and then that allow me to watch most of it. And then what you really hope to do is maybe follow up and then just kind of check on them after the fact. But yeah, it got to be something that immediately just kind of catch my eye, just from an athletic standpoint, shooting standpoint, and then I'll hopefully get to the end of it. So that's usually for me what I gotta see.
So what you saying, Coach? No layup lines, no time.
No free throws.
No
walking through the water fountain.
No team handshakes.
No team handshakes. If they do a layup and it's a free throw in the first 30 seconds, I already hit the X, man. I done deleted that. It's over with, So, yeah. Give them the rules of thumb. Go ahead and give them the rules of thumb of a highlight tape, man. Break it down for them so they know, so they can have a better chance for it to be seen and somebody actually watch it.
Coach, I want to go back to your team this year, man. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think Mr. Schuler had a big impact on what y'all did this year.
Yeah.
I saw some games, and he just did. It was like he always made the right play when y'all needed it.
Yeah.
Could have been a big shot here, right pass here, good defensive stop. Like I remember y'all played UGA, I think, in Athens.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept making the plays to make sure y'all were going to win that game.
Yeah. He got that kind of ability in him in terms of, he not necessarily going to always lead us in scoring. Not necessarily going to lead the league in assists, but he does. I told coaches the other day, like, he's a guy that just makes winning plays. He makes winning plays, and you got to have some of them guys on your team, right?
Yeah.
So he's kind of an underrated guy, in my opinion. Not just in the league, but nationally, because we got here. We asked him to play the point guard position to kind of help Brian Tyree, who was better off the ball. TD, Terrence Davis, who I mentioned earlier, is playing with the Raptors now. So he didn't mind being a guy that kind of facilitated, and he took that role on, and he led us to the NCAA tournament that first year. And I think this year coming up, you're going to see him have more of a scoring role. We're going to be able to play him off the ball a little bit more. But now he's a competitive guy. Like, people don't realize too, man, he played hurt for most of his junior year. I'm sorry, his sophomore year. That first year we were here, had a stress fracture, never missed a game. I don't think he missed I may have missed one, but not more than that. And this year kind of got banged up. So he never complains, man. He practices every day. He comes, with a hard hat and his lunch belt, every single day. And like I said, man, he makes winning plays. I mean, there's been a lot of times it'll be a steal, Huff, or it'll be, a loose ball, big defensive rebound. His stat, he'll fill up the stat sheet, man. At the end of the day, you go back and watch the film, you be like, man, that play right there was the reason why we won the game. So I'm expecting him to have a breakout year this year. I was looking forward to, this summer was going to be a big summer for him working out wise. So obviously we all kind of had to adjust with the virus, COVID, so he hadn't been on campus like everybody else. But I know he's working back in South Carolina. He comes back though, man. We're gonna put a lot on his shoulders for us to be really, really good, next year and bounce back the way we need to.
Hey, I'm gonna say these two things. I'm gonna mute my mic. Sylvester, don't you ever call South Carolina the basketball mecca ever again.
In your life.
I just read that.
This is Atlanta, Georgia, baby. What are you talking about? And then my second thing is, you talked about development, Coach Hamilton. Well, it's nice to know from Mondre's fact that at Ole Miss, the assistants do work their players out. I'll mute my mic now.
That's where all the magic happens, right? Man, player development, like I mentioned before, Coach Davis is really, really good. He's as good as I've been around because he has his hand involved in all of it. But at the end of the day, he can only do so much. So, man, we spend a lot of time with those guys pre-practice, post-practice, in the summertime, just trying to find ways to get those guys better. So, like, I always have a lot of respect for those great NBA players. So, we've been watching The Last Dance the last, few weeks. You could trace it back to MJ and Magic, even go up to now currently, right? Kevin Durant, LeBron. It would always seem like every year, every summer, they would bring something different to their game the next year to keep getting better. And so I always felt like, man, it's our responsibility as assistant coaches to do that with our guys so that they keep on getting better. So we focus on that a bunch. At the end of the day, too, like, going back even to middle, and we got the same mentality here at Ole Miss, right? So obviously recruiting is important. You got to get great players. But there's a time where we, at middle, we wouldn't necessarily get McDonald's All-Americans or 5-star guys, or we get maybe a 2- and 3-star guy. But by the time they became juniors and seniors because of the development piece, and we in the gym and working with them, by the time they were junior seniors, we go out and beat all these, that time Power 5 or 5-star guys. And so we want to have that same philosophy. Now we get a chance, hopefully, to recruit a little bit higher talented guy, and now see what we can do with them after a couple of years. But that's the thing that we try to sell more than anything is the development piece, because once we get you here, it's on us. Obviously start from coach, but then it's us as assistant coaches, man, to help our guys get better, so eventually they have a chance to play beyond college and really see their game take off.
Coach, you mentioned a thing about shooting. As I go back and kind of looking, at your games, and it seemed like when you guys were able to shoot it well from beyond the arc, you win. You don't shoot it so well, there were some struggles there. Yep. What's the big adjustment for every kid who thinks that they're a shooter? What's the adjustment from being a shooter in high school to being able to shoot it at your level?
Right, man. You got to be able to get it off, because the time you have to get your shot off at this level is I'd said, like, the biggest adjustment is the physical part of the game and the speed of the game. So when defensively you play really good teams or just at the college level, they're closing out to you. They're not giving you just wide open shots, right? So you got to, number one, be able to get it off quick, and the time you have to where it's an open shot, you got to make that decision whether it's a good shot or bad shot in a short amount of time. Whether you're reading a short closeout or a long closeout, and then it just becomes to reps. Now one thing this year probably under maybe valued a little bit is that 3-point line moved back, so a lot of those guys just had to adjust from even just shooting from a further distance. So they get to high school, and now, even I guess now, I don't know, high school wise, it's different now, I guess. So it used to be uniform, right? High school 3-point line, same as college. We got, I think right now we got 2 different lines. So that's going to be just an adjustment to where I would say, like, at some point when you're getting ready to go from into your high school career to becoming a freshman, you better start shooting from the 3-point line. You're going to shoot at this level, so that difference, doesn't affect you as much. But you got to be able to get your shot off. And I tell guys all the time, too, here's the thing about great shooters, right? Great shooters are always working to be better shooters. So, man, even if you can shoot the basketball at a high level in high school, if you don't continue to work on it and get reps, you're not going to be, you're not going to be able to shoot it at the level you want to shoot it at. And I think about all the guys I've coached that are really, really good shooters. I can, think on the top of my head, 4 or 5, the best ones. Man, they were always constantly, daily working on it. So it was something that was a continuous process. I think sometimes guys think they're good shooters, but they don't realize, man, I got to keep working on this thing every day. You know, so those kind of be some things as you're making that transition that I think is critical to be able to shoot at a high level, you know, at this level.
Do you think sometimes, Coach, we as coaches make the mistake and we have a good shooter and we spend too much time working on the other, like, not saying we don't want him to shoot, but we try to do everything about his weaknesses. And so, like, Carter, my mindset has kind of been like, okay, postseason, summer, that's when we work on your weaknesses. When we get to preseason and in-season development, I need to make sure you're elite at what you do, whatever being elite is. If you're an elite shooter, then I got to work on that preseason and during the season. I work on your weaknesses after the season and in the summer, which doesn't lead up into how we win games per se, if that makes sense.
Yep, that's huge, man. I remember when I was at the University of Houston, right? So at the time, really before then, because I was in Texas at a D2 school, but I got a common link with John Lucas, you know, who you know, the legend, you know, as far as player development, got drafted #1 with the Rockets now, right? So I had a link through where we're from, but I also had to go down there and watch this kid that was transferring. He was working out with Luke, and he was gonna have to go to Division II. So I was down there in his gym, and it always stuck with me when I heard it. And they were in the midst of working out, and I was sitting there watching, and they had this kid. He was trying to this particular kid, which is kind of reverse of what you're saying. He couldn't shoot it, but he kept trying to show he could shoot it because there was some NBA people around there too, right? And Luke stopped the whole practice, the whole workout. He said, "Hey, man, put your game on the game." And so I think what happens is sometimes you lose sight of it. Like, man, if you have an elite skill, like you can shoot the basketball, man, be elite at that. You know, man, be always able to put what you do well into the game. And like you said, the time to work on it is out of season. And it go back to, you got to keep on working at it to stay elite at it, right? So I do think there's a tendency sometimes to say guys can really shoot. Like I got to be able to put on the floor. I got to be able to, you know, do different things. But as Bryce said earlier too, like the thing about basketball, if you can make shots, there's always going to be a place for you on the floor, right? And so, you know, if you can at least hold your own from a defensive standpoint, but if you can make shots because you space the floor, you're easy to play with, and the 3-point line, man, it's such an equalizer. If you can do it and shoot it at a high level, we coaches, we like guys who put that round thing in the brown thing. So, you know, but yeah, man, just as you said, like, man, just you got to do that and work on it all the time because it'll give you a chance. If you have that as #1 thing you do off the bat is shoot the basketball, you got a chance to play for a long time, you know, and then obviously the level dictate that. But man, we like I said before, first thing coach asked when I get back on the road, can they shoot? Can they shoot? You know, so put your game on the game.
Coach, you guys also run a lot of ball screen stuff too, man. Is that something that you feel like guys kind of struggle with, or will that stop you from recruiting a kid who you see hasn't played in that type of system and may not be able to make those reads, or do you feel like we can take him and we can coach him up?
Yeah, that's a good question because we do. I was actually doing a clinic on probably about a week ago, right? So I had our film guy and kind of we got some guys to do some stats and stuff, and they had broken it down to where we were like in the top 15 in the country the last 5 years, maybe 6 years of using ball screens and scoring out of ball screens. So obviously, like you said, it's what we do, right? So, you know, we talk about, okay, now when you talk about recruiting and style of play, do you recruit guys that fit your system? But the thing that, and coaches really kind of taught me this, give Coach Davis some credit here, you know, at other places I've been, I thought like if you wouldn't get off ball screens, man, try your best to not put those guys in those situations. Like, hey, if you got one guy that's really good, let him be the guy that's using it all the time. Everybody else get in the corners and just – but we let all our guys use them. So because of that, knowing that and the volume that we use them, man, we really try to coach guys up to be better at it. And so, like, going back what Huff said with Schuler, like Devontae, use him as an example. He didn't have a lot of great not necessarily experience, but just great off reading it when we first got here, man. But we try to do it so much every single day in a competitive way. And then not just where it's just on air. So like, man, even if it's 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, like we got a defense and we're trying to get them to read long roll guys, Euro passes. And so we do it. So we're hopefully when they get in the game, guys are more comfortable to be able to make the play the game tell them to in all the ball screen stuff we do. So we feel like it's some we'll tell guys in recruiting too, like, hey, everybody wants to have the ball in their hands. Everybody at the next level think they need to be a point guard. So if you want to go somewhere, you're really going to get a chance to do that and have the ball and play off ball screens. Shoot, it ain't no better else to play. And that's my recruiting pitch. Anybody listening, but no, it's just the truth. So we coach guys up, and we spend a lot of time on it every day, working on it. Like I said, whether it's 1-on-0, 2-on-0, 3-on-0, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4. So eventually those guys, we hope by the time they leave and through their time, man, here with us, that they get better and they're comfortable at it, and they can, they can make the play the game tell them to.
We hear so many kids struggle with like the terminology of the game.
Yeah.
How do you guys combat that? Like in your program, like how do y'all get them up to speed to be able to and how much can that hinder a guy that can play? Like if you get a kid, and I'm just throwing out a name, right? You get a kid that's as talented as an Ant-Man.
Yeah.
How much of a hindrance can not understand the terminology be to a player that's that good?
Right. It's a great point, man, because at the end of the day, like you want guys to not be thinking as much in terms of if they're thinking too much and they can't be instinctive. And so if you got guys that are talented and they overthinking and they can never let their talent show up in the game because they never get to the instinctive part. So what we try to do, and we run a lot of stuff, man, we run a lot of sets. And so we know that. But even in doing that, we try to thumb down the terminology part. So it may be where, we don't limit, or we try to limit what we capable of running in terms of the amount of stuff. And we have to fight coaches a little bit, because we got too much in the package now. Let's scale it back, but at the same time, what we do a good job of is making it real simplified in the things that we do. So like even from an inline of bounds set, we're going to try to call it something really simple. So in their mind, you can say it and it like tells them what to do. It may be like handoff, and snap may means handoff, snap, pop. And so they know I'm going to hand it off. We're in this snap action and I'm going to pop. And Georgia. Damn, okay, what's Georgia? I got to run here. I got to hit this off. Kentucky. So we try to do it from that standpoint, because we have seen, we've been guilty of it, man. We've had kids that are talented, but just can't process it quick enough so that they can ever really translate to the games. And you want to limit that, because the worst thing is you have a talented kid and you can't get the most out of them because, it's just a little bit too complicated and they can't really play because of just the sheer amount of volume and stuff you may have, or just how complicated, your system is. So we try our best we can to make it simple, but you're right. I mean, that's a balancing act. It's a balancing act for sure, so, and the fact that sometimes you may get these guys 1 year, 2 years. So, you're trying to speed up that learning curve as quick as possible, because it's not like, like Huff said back before, like you got to program guys, right? So the more you have of those guys, sometimes they can teach the guys and they've been in your program 3 years or 4 years. So now when you see all that stuff, it's like, man, it's like almost like an autopilot. We those really good teams we've had, man, guys have been in the program 3, 4, 5 years sometimes. Man, practices, drills, all that stuff is on autopilot. Now you're getting freshmen and you're getting guys that's been in there 2 years. You're teaching and you're teaching them something, you're teaching that every year almost, so to speak. So it's a balancing act for sure, because sometimes we can overcoach. We all get guilty of that. But man, we just got to be able to teach and then let guys play.
Got a question from out here talking about, let's see. Hey, what's a mistake that you feel like you learned the most from?
It's a good question. I would say just not necessarily a mistake, but just the thought of I figured it out. Like I give you one example. It's a cliche sometimes, and we tell it to our guys. You got to stay humble. And so when I went to Tulane, I was at Citadel, so I got my first Division I job. I went there, and we had the most wins in the 2-year history of the school at a military school, which is it's extremely hard to win. In the SoCon at the time, Steph Curry was in the league. College of Charleston was really good. App State was really good. I think at the time there was like 4 programs, and all of them at that particular time had the all-time scoring leader at that school during that time. You know, so the talent level was high level, and so we win there though. We do a great job. We get the job at Tulane. So now you go from the military school where if a kid, we had to recruit a lot of kids that just may have one offer. Like we were trying to find all those sleepers you put up there. We were trying to find those guys because if a kid had an offer from a school that didn't have a military and they had an offer from the city, most likely we wasn't getting them. So we had to be really, really good at evaluating, really creative. And we get to Tulane, and so now we're in Conference USA, where it's a step up. So, but when I get there, man, like the first 4 guys that we went after, man, we signed them, recruited them. Kid from transfer from NC State, signed him. Another kid from North Carolina, signed him. Went to Houston, signed his kid, 16 kid. Houston, they got a decommitment from Central Florida, signed him. So all of a sudden, like, man, I got this thing figured out, And so probably the next 5, 6 kids or so, man, we missed on every last one of them. And so it just kind of kept me humble, and it made me realize just how competitive and how sharp you got to stay. And so that's probably the thing the most, that I've learned just in this business, doing it for the amount of time I have. I hope that answered the question. But just that mindset, man, just, you got to prove yourself every single day, really, no matter what you do in life. But man, in basketball, for me personally too, just how I think, I got that mindset, kind of every day I walk in the office, or every day I wake up.
Coach, 2-part question here. Number one, during this time, of uncertainty during the pandemic, what are you guys doing with your players? And what are you doing as a coach to be better during this time?
Yeah, great question, man. So our guys, we normally meet once a week, Zoom, with a Zoom type, virtual meeting, just checking on them. A lot of times it's how you doing, how your family doing. Obviously, check on the academic piece. We'll bring some guys in to maybe just speak on whether it be motivational deal or former player come in, just like that guys is playing, Terrence Davis, for example, playing to talk about what they're doing, from that standpoint. And then outside of that, just trying to touch these guys as a staff and assistant coaches, on a daily and every other day basis, because this is the longest for any of us that we've been disconnected from our team, so just trying to stay connected in a time where they want you to be socially distant. That's kind of the biggest struggle for us as coaches and even the players. So we've been just touching them. We'll call them. We got a great academic system here where they still get access to all the tutors, and so they're constantly doing those things. They just finished up this week, as a matter of fact. So we just been trying to touch them, touch their families, call them, check on them, those type of things. So they hear from us constantly. And then from a coaching standpoint, doing things like this, and it was funny that first week when they said, hey, you got to work from the office. Man, we all just kind of sat around. Me personally, I know a lot of coaches I talked to just sat around for 3 or 4 days trying to figure out what do we do. We can call, but man, it's so abnormal. And then sure enough, I mean, guys like yourself, other guys start putting on some virtual clinics, and as coaches, we started connecting and collaborating and talking about basketball. So I've tried to be a part of those as much as I possibly can, and just learn from other guys, learn people's stories, talk to other coaches that sometimes you don't get a chance to talk to as much during the season when you're playing. If it's not virtual Zoom stuff, just call somebody, hey, man, tell me what y'all doing right now. Tell me what y'all, thoughts on the season, just different things. So trying to use this time to still grow and be productive, so that when we get out of this and we get on the other side, that we're improved as coaches. Because that's the thing we tell our guys, right? Hey, you guys got to get better. You got to get better. You got to get better. We're pushing. What are you doing to get better? Are you in the gym? You working out? So we got to do the same thing as coaches, so we can be better for them when they come back. And so that's kind of my thought process, or what I've been trying to do, in this quarantine time.
And coach, is that preparing you, you know, to not be labeled as a recruiter, which you've done very well.
Yeah.
But, you know, is that helping you to become a head coach?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, Huff, man, and one thing I was fortunate to do is early on when I was trying to not only get in the business but progress in coaching at this level. I was fortunate to work for guys who would not allow me to just be recruiters. And I know sometimes maybe you don't, depending on who you work for, that's a little bit more difficult. But whether it was when I was at Division II level, man, I always was doing scouts, always was involved in practice, planning practice, always involved with player development to where when I went to Citadel, same way, University of Houston with Coach Dickey, man, he really, really allowed me to coach on the floor and help me grow so much. And so that's been something that I've really been fortunate of to kind of always have in the back of my mind of not just being, you know, somebody to just go get guys. And now the last, 3, 4, 5 years as I've progressed, and, it's, at one point it was, hey, I want to be a Division I coach. I coached in Division II for 5 years. Then it was, I want to get to the mid-major level. We went to Tulane and went to Houston. And then, I always wanted to go to high major level. And Houston was kind of right in that discussion because they were in the Big East at the time. So at that point in time, really, it's like, man, I'm a high major coach. Get let go, get to middle, and then now we've been back, or I should say I've gotten back to this level at Ole Miss. But in the midst of all that, like probably those last 4 or 5 years, as I've kind of checked off goals, so to speak, the next one or the long term was to be a head coach. So from the sense of that label, what I try to do is just think like a head coach every day, so that therefore that label doesn't even apply. So just trying to be more involved with, meeting with donors and be involved in even radio stuff, with Coach Davis when he allowed me to do those things, or just different things that you would do outside of recruiting, so that if you do get that opportunity at some point in time, you're better prepared for it, if not. So, I hope that's kind of helped me along the way. And, if I get a chance to be a head coach, fortunately, I'll be better prepared for it.
Coach, we can't get out of here without really getting to the smoke, man.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that, man. Shoot, y'all been easy on me.
Long overdue.
Yeah.
You've been a part of some wins now. Y'all at middle, y'all
Right.
upset Michigan State.
Yeah.
What did you say to Coach Izzo in the handshake line after the game?
Man.
Did you tell him good game, Coach?
Oh, I gave him that hard squeeze. You know how that hard squeeze? When you to beat somebody and you can't say much, but you just gave him a hard squeeze.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys I respect most in college basketball, though, man. I got a lot of respect for Coach Izzo. I don't know him really well personally. I'll tell you this quick story, though. Like, when I was at the Citadel, we played him. I'll never forget it, man. I guess it was game day. He got his team. So that's a team with Draymond Green. I want to say it was Kalen Lucas. They were really good, right? And I remember, so at the Citadel, it's basically like you pull up and it's barracks. You've got all the military, not the bases, but you've got the barracks where the cadets stay at. And he made a point to have his guys just walk around and kind of just take all that in, in the midst of about to play us that night. And then we play them the game. It's a hot. I mean, it was a back and forth game. I mean, we were in the game. I think we lost by maybe like 7 or 8, 9. But our cadets, that was their like highlight, was go to basketball, and they would be right on the end line, closest to the sideline where the opposing team was at, and they were giving them, man, hell. And I mean, just going at them, and I mean, just almost like, you can imagine like Cameron Crazies, right? And after the game, he went by, took every one of his players and shook all the cadets' hands, kind of out of respect for what they were doing and what they were, as students there at the Citadel. And so I always had a lot of respect. But man, that game, it's one of the most, memorable games because that was my first NCAA tournament. So we get to the selection show and we see that pop up, and everybody goes crazy. And 15 seed Middle Tennessee State, number 2 seed Michigan State, and then we just like we go from a quick high to a low because they were really good. We're like, man, this thing, and even Coach Davis like, man, we're not gonna be there long. We were in St. Louis, man. Let's enjoy the trip. We can't beat those guys. They had the National Player of the Year with Denzel Valentine. I mean, they were as good as a college team that I probably played in coaching. I mean, they could have won a national championship. They were that good. But man, the stars were aligned. We kind of switched up some things defensively. Had a game plan that ended up working out for us, and made some shots early. Got confident, and man, it was. I'm mad at UMBC because before UMBC beat Virginia, we had the stake and the claim of having the biggest upset in the the 16 seed be the 1 seed. We kind of been forgotten ever since, but man, it was big time. It was an unbelievable experience, and man, my phone, I can't. I mean, it was probably 1,000 text messages. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I'll never forget that one.
So, Coach, this past season you played against Middle Tennessee, your former school. Did you have that circle on your schedule?
Good. Hey, so the first year we played them. So you got to remember now. So like we at Middle we played Ole Miss. So AK, who was a coach here before, for those who don't know, had this great idea that he gonna schedule Coach Davis in Middle Tennessee State, and so we ended up beating them here. I guess it was 4 years ago here in Oxford, and then they came back to Murfreesboro and we beat them there. And so now turn around, we get the job at Ole Miss. And so that first game, it was in Nashville. It was like kind of a three-game series or 3 games contract. One home, one away, and the neutral site. And so that first one was real like sentimental. I mean, those guys, we had just left them. A lot of guys we had recruited. It was kind of bittersweet in some ways. We won the game. This year it wasn't as bad because it was 2 years removed, but it'll be a game. We got to go back actually to Murfreesboro next year, I think, to finish the series. And so it'll always mean a whole lot. We got such great memories there, but we just can't lose to them, man. That's you're just trying to get the game over with, You're trying to win and get out of there. But
hey, Coach Ham. That is a great segue. You do know who we have on Thursday, right?
Who you got on Thursday? I didn't know.
No, this coming Thursday. We got Andre Morgan, so that's a great segue. We got some smoke for him.
Hey, the good thing about it, I don't have the scouting report, so if we do lose, there's less responsibility for it. Right? When other guys scout, but they're gonna be much improved, man. Dre, those guys have got some players in there.
They have.
Man, he came right back into Peach State and plucked out some players. So I think they're gonna make a big jump next year. So to go to their place next year, road game for us is gonna be really, really tough. So we're gonna have to come bring it for sure, next season.
Hey, Coach, any of those hard handshakes go out to players that you recruited? Do you give them a little pat on the back and a little extra smirk or a smile as you're going through the handshake line after you beat them, Coach? So
you said it right. After you beat them, when you beat them, and they told you no, there's some harder handshakes, and then it's some stares in the crowd trying to find maybe a mom and dad who wouldn't sign off or they didn't come. So you try to get the handshake. Yeah, exactly. So those make it competitive, man. Those games, think about it is I told somebody this I guess last week when I got into business. First guy I worked for, Jason Tinsley, he said, man, you're going to get more no's than you get yeses. And so, that's it doesn't get no truer statement than that. So you can't get everybody you want. I'm kind of different in the fact that when a kid tells me no, it hurts. But, I can understand guys got to make whatever decision is best for them. But it does, to your point, it makes you feel good if you, after that game, you can kind of have a little bit of I got the last laugh. At least until we play again, that we can go out there and beat you. So I can tell you this: when we have that scouting report and we talking about personnel, I'm making sure if they told us no, man, we ain't letting them get off. Hey, this one right here, we can't let this one get off. So we try to use that to our advantage sometimes for sure.
No doubt. Coach, we definitely appreciate you coming and kicking it with us, man. We having a good time out here. So we thank you for your time, man. We appreciate everything you do in our state, valuing our kids, coming and recruit as much as you do. Your name is one that gets tossed around a lot, but also somebody that we see around a lot, man. So we really appreciate that, Coach, for real.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me. Like I said, man, I finally feel like I have arrived. And I didn't get gonged off either. I didn't get booed out the crowd. I come back. I'm going to get a haircut with locks. I'm going to Whiskey Mistress Thursday.
Hey, we put up the Whiskey Mistress
on Thursday. And all seriously, but I mean, really, I tell you this, I'd always had appreciation for kids from that state and coaches. And Coach Davis, again, man, when I got the middle, so we do it kind of by states from a recruiting standpoint. And he just had this idea. He said, Ronnie, hey, I want you to go recruit Georgia. And I really had been in and out of there, but never really had laid some roots down there. And so when he said that, I took it upon myself to try to get to know people. And I've always had this little saying to myself, to find a gym, GEM, you got to be in the gym, GY. So I just tried to go to as many gyms, meet as many people as I could. And, man, the Peach State has been great to me. We're going to always recruit it really hard. I mean, it's great coaches. It's great coaches for sure. I mean, I tell you, like the guys that we recruited out there, you can tell they've been coached, competition, the AU. I mean, just the whole deal. And I'm one of those ones too, man. I'll land in the Hartsfield Airport, but I like to go drive about an hour, 2 hours away, man. I get out of the ATL and go to South Georgia. Because there's some sleepers, man. There's some diamonds in the rough.
Tell them again, Coach.
Liberty County, Davion Mitchell.
Yep.
I mean, man, you go on, man. So there's talent. It gets recruited really hard, but I tell you, there's enough talent for everybody. And so, man, I appreciate you guys, man. You definitely gonna see a lot of Ole Miss. We got to get the next one. But man, anytime y'all want to come down to practice, feel free. We got anything you want to eat, come to the Grove. It's going to be crazy. Come to a football weekend. Come kick it with us, man, and we'll show y'all great Southern hospitality.
No doubt, Coach. As long as y'all ain't practicing at 5 a.m. like Coach Ireland. 5 o'clock in the morning, man.
Hey, look, here's the great thing about Georgia, though. So you can get there and you can go catch a 5 a.m. practice. You can go catch a 6:15 practice. You can go catch maybe a 6:45. Then you can actually go. See, let me go back. So in Texas, you could do all this. I'm gonna give you a real quick education. And then we gotta go because people want to watch The Last Dance. So they ain't in Texas, you can do that all the way up until 8 p.m. at night because they have what they call basketball periods. If you're not familiar with that, so like basically, and this is where Texas, I'm gonna give y'all a secret, and they got Georgia beat in this sense. Their basketball periods is just for basketball, just for their team. So they may have, every one of them across the whole state without fail. So you can literally do that, but you can go like 8 to 9:30, 9:30 to 11, 12 to 1, and so on and so forth. But the thing I love about Georgia, you can get those early ones in, start about 5 a.m., and then you can go go back, maybe take a nap at the hotel. You go get they're gonna resume again at about 4 o'clock, and then you go from about 4 to 10, and you can wake up and do it again the next day. So, man, y'all got it figured out up there. But no, it's good.
I'm gonna put you on something now.
Yeah,
you get to the right school.
Oh, you get to the right school.
You get to the right school where the head coach is a PE teacher.
Yeah,
and he got all his basketball players in that PE class.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Hey, Huff doing more dry snitching than MJ right now, dog.
That ain't no dry snitching. Everybody know that. Everybody, if I was a PE coach, I'd be doing it right now. What are you talking about?
hey, Huff, you got all the juice. Get us a basketball period, man. Go talk to GHSA.
Hey, man, they shut down right now. What are you talking about?
But no,
I know the GHSAA office is. Anybody know what the actual office is?
No.
Hold on. Now I'm gonna get some smoke. Now I'm putting y'all on the spot.
I know where it is. It's in Thompson, Georgia.
And I know where that office is. Hey, Huff, what school is in Thompson, Georgia?
Ups and leaves.
I only do 285, so I already know
Bryce don't know about it. He only do inside 285, Ronnie.
Hey, Bryce had a hard time going to Augusta. We went to Augusta that time.
Man.
I ain't gonna start on GHSA. I get in trouble enough. I'm staying out of it. But yeah, Coach, we appreciate it, man. We really appreciate you coming down and kicking it with us, man. Platform is open to you at any time, bro. We really appreciate it. Hope to be able to see you soon. We hope to get basketball back at some point. Hope to get to see you soon, whether it's in one of our gyms or we in yours. We hope to see you soon, man. Hub, give them the rundown of MCA of Georgia and give them the rundown of what we got going on this week.
No doubt, man. MCA of Georgia, we got Jamon Christian, head coach of George Washington on Wednesday, and another special guest on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we've got Scepter Brownlee, who's the assistant women's coach at Mississippi State. So we've got two people lined up with a couple of surprises on both ends after them on Wednesday and Thursday at MCA of Georgia. And May 20th and 21st, we're dropping you with the meet and greet with the HBCU head coaches. We ain't even talking assistants. You're going to get to see head coaches talk about their programs, and you can ask questions. And we've got a lot of them lined up for you. And then, obviously, we kind of dropped it already. Andre Morgan on Thursday, 8 p.m. on the Love of the Game podcast.
The blackest one.
Middle Tennessee State. He's a Georgia boy now, so, you know, him getting on with us, he's a Georgia boy, so we love it.
No doubt. No doubt. And as always, for sure, after the last dance at 11:05, we'll be back on here. Holla at us. Let's keep it locked. Shout out to SUV TV. That's the platform. That's the family. Any other church? I'm trying to think we got any more church announcements, man.
No.
Never mind.
Hey, you better end it. You better end it.
End the show.
Crazy. Hey, Bryce, and don't say it until I tell you that we off air. Bryce Wilder. That's the Love of the Game podcast, man. That's our show for today. We love y'all, man. Y'all be easy. We out.